self-deletion rate has quadrupled since pretty much like COVID and obviously prior to that. So in about the last 4 or 5 years, we're the second highest self-deletion ethnicities behind Native Americans. Okay, and what's the reason for that, right? Is it correlated to the next few stats that I'm going to talk about right now, which is Asian men are the least desired ethnicity on dating apps, right? It's whether it's Tinder, Bumble, whatever, right? The other thing too is our Asian sisters, Gen Z, and recently is marrying outside of their ethnicity at a higher rate than almost close to 60% at this point. So why are Asian men not suitable marriage candidates for our Asian sisters, right? Okay. Even though we are one of the highest earning ethnicities, we actually are the highest earning ethnicities. Okay. So things like that, guys, right? We need to talk about those things. And does that correlate to why we have such a high self-deletion? Okay, but hey, before we get into it, guys, right? Subscribe to this channel, right? Support us. Check out our Patreon pages and obviously our Cashapp pages, guys. Anything you guys donate to the show, we're going to obviously buy new cameras, buy more stuff for the studio, so that way we can give you guys better content as always. Bring more guests on the show, like the lovely guests we have on today, right? And also, guys, if you guys haven't read a few books, right, I always try to promote the RP space, right? Go check out Rollo Tomasi's book, The Rational Male, that I have on the shelf over there. And then Myron Gaines' book, Why Women Deserve Less. I know it's a very kind of divisive title, but it's very knowledgeable. And I think as Asian men particularly, that we're still kind of living in an outdated dating market. We need to become more aware of what the current dating market as well. Lastly, before we get into the introductions, guys, hey, this year, support our Asian communities. One of the things that have been in rise is Asian hate crimes in the last 4 or 5 years as well, has quadrupled 5 times since COVID. You know, maybe they're blaming it on us, but whatever the reason, there's a lot of Asian hate crimes going on. So recently, we just donated to the AAPI Stop Asian Hate campaign. Guys, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just giving you guys awareness that there's a lot of good community social outreach programs that you guys can volunteer or donate to help our Asian brothers and sisters out there. Okay? But without further ado, I'll let the guests introduce themselves, right? And we'll start on over here. Oh. Okay? And so if you can state your name, your age, your ethnicity, okay, your dating status, okay, and then just kind of a cool thing about you that maybe someone doesn't know.
My name is Kristine. I am 30 years old. I'm married happily for the last 7 years.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I guess something interesting about me is I was active duty for almost 8 years.
What branch?
I was in the Army.
Army?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for serving.
Thank you. And I think that's it. Usually not a lot of people guess that about me. So.
No, not at all. Yeah, that's cool.
My name's Kean. I'm 21. I am Filipino, and I am in a relationship about 9 months now. Something about me is I still go to school. I'm a 4th year at Seattle University, and that's about it.
Kristine, did you say your ethnicity? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm Filipino.
Filipino. So Filipino.
My name is Lynn. I am Cambodian. I am currently single, and something new about me is I'm actually an entrepreneur starting my own personal business.
What is the business?
It's still in the makes and drafts, but it was going to be like a group called Always Late, funny enough. Basically more for like the car community, because most of the time I'm always late to car meets.
Okay. And I'm sorry, what was your age?
I'm 21 in July 12th.
20, currently 20, 21. Okay. So Filipino, Cambodian, okay, single. Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph. I am Filipino. I am 20 years old, currently single. And I guess a fun fact about me, I'm coming to visit from out of state. I'm from Chicago, so I'm staying here over the summer with actually my aunt, Kristine. And I'll be interning downtown in an accounting firm.
Is she really your aunt?
Yeah, she
Yes.
really is my aunt.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, looking too young to be an aunt. Yes.
Hi guys, so I'm Tai and I'm 29, Vietnamese, and a fun fact is I'm actually a coach for the Asian American men. So I help Asian American guys get lean while eating rice and noodles. And I use, fitness as a way to be more confident, to be able to speak better, help them with their dating, and just be the best version of themselves.
Do you have a social media page, Instagram page for that?
I do. So my Instagram is It's Tai Fam. So ITSTAIPHAM. So I post a lot of fitness content, food recipes, my journey to being more confident, style, communication, and if anybody wants to check out what I do, you can check out my website. It's taifam.com/Asian Boss Boy. So Asian Boss Boy is the company name.
Nice. And guys, all their Instagrams, all their social media links will be in the description of the video, guys. Okay, so go check those guys out, give them a follow, and support our Asian brothers and sisters. Okay, so the first question I have, and we'll start over here, okay, and we'll get everyone a chance to answer is, do you guys know what 50-50 relationships are? You guys heard the term 50-50 relationship? Who here, raise your hand if you've heard or not have heard the 50-50 relationship. Okay. So, do you believe in the 50-50 relationship? Yes or no? And what do you think is brought by each party to the 50-50?
Can you clarify for everybody else who doesn't know?
Okay, so a lot of this modern context, you'll hear this is like, I want a partner, right? We don't say husband and wife anymore. We say partner nowadays, right? And then a lot of modern, and this is really a modern feminist, modern female thing to say is, I want a 50-50 relationship, right? Where I'm bringing 50-50 to the table. They have yet to answer what the 50-50 is. There's so many like different answers to what the 50-50 is, right? But that's why I want to hear what your guys' take is.
50-50. I think in terms of relationship, it applies. I believe in 50-50. I think I take that back, actually. A lot of men, there's a stereotype where men have to take care of the money, protection. That's their 50. The other 50 would be the women being able to take care of the household, the kids. So I believe in that kind of realm.
Okay. So no, you don't believe in it, or yes, you do believe in it?
I don't believe in it.
Don't believe
yeah,
it?
Yeah.
Okay. What about yourself, Joseph?
Yes, so 50-50, I mean, it's technically my first time hearing the term, but I could definitely see more of a nuanced type of thing, especially going in a university setting. I feel like, especially in Chicago, whenever I'm looking around talking to other people, and they're telling me more about their dating life and their relationships, what they're looking for is something more equal, where, someone gives 50% of themselves, whatever that may be, to the relationship, and then the other half will also. And I feel like it's more of a progressive thing, very new. It's definitely more new. I know my family's a little bit more traditional. And so, do I believe in it? I have to say yes. I mean, if that means that I'm paying half the bill and they're going to pay the half the bill too, but I mean, personally, myself as well. I mean, I've known every single time in a first date or anything like that, I'll pay for the bill first. So
okay, so do you believe that a woman and a man, the husband and wife, they can bring 50% finance, and then the wife can bring 50% finance?
yes,
So
I think I can.
And are you dating or any other ethnicities, or are you dating mostly Asians?
Honestly, it goes around anything.
Okay, so you're open to
I'm
dating
open
others.
to dating. Yes.
How about yourself, Ty? I wanted to ask that same thing. Are you dating Asians?
Just Asians.
Just
Yeah,
Asian.
just
Doesn't
Asian.
matter the type of Asian.
Doesn't matter. Vietnamese, Taiwanese, any type of Asian.
But Asians.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Lynn, how about yourself?
And I feel like I'm about to start an argument. I wouldn't say it's 50-50. I feel like it's more 100 and 100. Because 50-50 just sounds like, I'm going to give you this effort while I do my own thing, and then the other same party, so I'll give you this much effort. And it's they do their own thing. There's nothing wrong with independency, but there's also that reliability and support, that foundation of a relationship that exists, and then you just build on top of that foundation. Unfortunately, I am ashamed. I've had many relationships in the past where it felt like I was the main foundation of the relationship, then more of a 50-50 to 100-100. Majority of women like the emotional and mental support, while men like the foundation and the physical support. They don't focus on so much of the emotional part that they lack more than a woman does. So when it comes to 100-100, it's more like, I need you to be there for me, while a man is, I need you to do these things for me. It's like the words of affirmation and then gestures.
Well, I think where the 50-50 comes into is because you can only have 100%, right?
Right.
You can't have more than 100%, right? So that's the reason why. And then when you said that your previous relationships, they didn't bring 100%, what did they not bring? You said emotional?
It just felt like I was more of a caregiver more than anything. I provided, I spoiled,
Did you
was
make more money
always-
than your previous?
Oh, I wouldn't say I made a lot of money, but it was a matter of like I'm usually a person of acts of gifts because
Okay.
I always grew up in those terms of my history of my family would give me gifts in return of not being there. So therefore, I always kind of gave gifts because that's what was reflected off of me. I tried better about more physical attributes and more words of affirmation, which seems to be a lot better than just gifts because it saves my money because I'm not very good at spending, unfortunately.
Got it. Okay.
But that 100% is like you start off with the 50, but the 50 makes the 100.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. You're saying there's a 50-50, but you need to be 100% committed to
Yeah.
providing that. I
Yeah.
got it. Okay. What about yourself, Kean?
I don't think 50-50 kind of like is there. I think it's kind of like what Lynn was saying. It's kind of like sometimes like one partner might not be able to like contribute their 50 all the time, so it might be like 70-20, 40 whatever. Like,
Okay.
but yeah, I say no because that's me in my personal relationship because sometimes I'm not able to give my 50 to my girlfriend. So it's
What do you think are some of the 50-50s that you're supposed to bring?
kind of just money.
Okay, hold on one second. We got a comment real quick. What's the comment?
What is everyone's thoughts? Triple Lex says, reality, no woman wants to pay 50-50. They don't really pay anything.
Okay, well,
Man should put at least most of the bill, 85 to 15 is fair.
okay, well, we'll get into that. No, we're kind of getting into that right now. Is that Lex? Lex?
Yes.
Lex, thank you so much for the comment. Yeah, we'll get into that here in a moment. So, yeah, so you were saying though, what is your thinking?
Something that like each partner could like probably provide to their 50 is like their like support, their commitment to like each other, because without like that support or commitment, it's just
Can you give us something pragmatic though? Like, because that's very vague, right? Because I can commit something, but what is that commitment? What am I committing to you?
I don't know. It's a young relationship. I can't really like
Okay,
specify.
we'll get back to it then. How about you, Kristine?
Okay, so mine might not be the conventional answer everybody agrees with. Like, just like how Joseph said, like, our family grew up very traditional. I personally, though, don't believe in 50-50. I believe in 75-25 as a partner or being married to someone.
On which side? The man
um,
75 or the woman 75?
I don't believe in the gender role. I feel like I'm a switch, if that makes sense, because I feel like in a marriage, you know, you both give, you know, an equal amount to each other, whether it's financially supporting each other, emotionally, or anything of that nature. But I feel like, you know, sometimes your partner can be on a weaker set where, like, say your partner, you know, got laid off, or your partner is going through an emotional time or some mental health crisis or anything like that. I feel like as a partner, the 75 comes in where you have to step up a little bit and know your partner enough to be able to support and give them like what they're lacking in a sense.
But who's doing the 75 more of the time?
I don't know. I mean, for my marriage, I guess like I don't want to say me because I don't want to sound like it's just me, because he does give that part. But I guess for the most part, since I guess our mentality is very different and I'm very like upfront in my communication, I would say just me, just because I bring like I don't know, this sounds like very like self-centered, but I feel like I've just brought a lot more communication out and more and pulling him out of like, you know, his headspace, like to understand me, where it's like he lacks in communication and like, you know, but when it comes to the bigger things like financial support, I think that like it's definitely like half and half, you know, because I like to take care of my own too. You know, I
So
don't
do you
like,
guys split the bills 50-50?
yes, like
Okay.
it's fair, just because
Okay.
like it's a me thing too, because I grew up being able to provide myself. Like I left my house at 18, so I've always had that mindset where if I can't provide for myself, I don't want someone else to be able to provide that for me.
And you've been married 7 years,
Yes.
you said? And do you have kids?
We do.
How-
We have an 8-year-old.
Just Recently. Okay,
Yes.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, got it. Okay, so you don't believe in 50-50.
I don't.
You believe in this 75-25,
Yes.
but it flip-flops.
Yes.
Okay.
Goes back and forth.
It's a little
she's saying.
weird.
Okay. So wouldn't that be kind of in a way 50-50 though, if you're kind of having to
Helping each
take
other.
I mean, if you want to put it that way, then I guess I'd switch my answer to yes. If that's the way we're looking at it, then yes, 50-50.
the way you explain it
I'm sorry. It's
seems
probably
like
not
it's more
confusing.
50-50.
Yeah.
No, the way you explain it, because like you're splitting the bills.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, in times of trouble, you step up. When times of trouble, he steps up, right? That's
So I
that
guess
kind
in that context, then yes, I.
of. Okay.
Then I'll
And your
believe-
husband, what's his ethnicity?
He's Filipino.
Filipino as well. Okay. Mama, what do you think?
Oh, you already know what I think.
Well,
I don't. Well, for me, I mean, you know, every person in a relationship has their roles. Like what Tai is saying. Like a man's role is to take care of the major stuff, the bills, right? I cannot stand if a man has to break down in front of me. He has to be a strong pillar, you know. So I believe in a strong pillar. I believe that we all have our roles. If as a wife, I've got my roles to take care of, which is my kids, my house, whatever else, anything else, like, you know, dress well when I go out, whatever else. With my husband, his role is the pillar. He has to be the strong pillar before any structure is falling down. Because if you don't have a strong pillar over the house, things will break down. So I cannot have my emotional damage, whatever that thing is, to have my husband show me his emotional side, right? You got to be able to handle that. So he's got to be able to handle all the finance, the major stuff. That's his stress load. And, you know, and I don't see most of it. So I don't know, maybe because I grew up in a pillar that's how it is, you know? So there you go. That's my
Okay.
answer.
got it. Very traditional, very in the truth answer, like I expected my wife to say. So who here? I think Kristine. I think Lynn. You said it 100-100, but were you the two that said 50-50? You guys believe 50-50? And Joseph, you said 50-50 as well too. Okay, so I'll start here this time, right? So once again, what is the 50-50 that the man is bringing to the table and then the woman's bringing to the table? So the 50% that the man's supposed to bring, or in your case, right, 75 sometimes to 25, but regardless, what are the things that the man is supposed to bring in for the 50 and then the woman bring into the 50?
How do you feel?
I guess it's not what I feel; it's how I am doing it now.
Yeah,
since
so
I'm
what are those
married.
things?
Like my husband, like you said, you know, he's definitely the backbone of our family, financially, and you know all of that. Even though it's even, but he does take care of everything. He is our finance. He is our finance guy. He handles all of that, the bills and everything. Because I'm not a fan of numbers. I mean, I am in a sense, but however, he is just stronger in that aspect than me. He definitely is more organized and everything, so he handles all of that aspect in our family, as where he can't grocery shop to save his life. So
What type of shop?
He can't grocery shop
Grocery
to
shop,
save his
got it,
life.
got
So
it.
I like things particular in the house. So I take care of like the household. I'll cook, I'll clean, take care of, you know, like our daughter and then, you know, our dog and everything like that. So it's kind of like the traditional aspect of it where it's like financially and everything, the stability in our household is him. And then I do more of the common, you know, the common role at home and everything.
Okay, so in this 50-50 relationship, and of course I'll ask you guys as well, who do you believe? So who makes the final say in your household?
I do.
So you do.
I
Okay.
do.
So you do. Okay. What about yourself? So, did you believe in the 50-50? You said no,
No.
right? Okay. So Lynn, you said you believe 50-50. What is the values that the man is bringing and versus the woman's bringing?
I feel like I had to add on to both of theirs. It's like
Okay.
it's similar to what I said, the 100-100. It's like a scale. It flips back and forth. Sometimes there's days where I can't emotionally be there, and then there's days where he could be that strong player. So the 50-50, if I had to go and feed off of that, is that he or she could be the emotional stability pillar. It's like sometimes I need that stability. Sometimes it's nice to know that it's not just a emotional roller coaster. You know, I'll just be there and he could just stand there and not even talk, and I would be okay with that. It's just that existing presence where I know I have that support.
So you're feeling some type of like emotional damage.
I have someone to get to,
And
like,
you-
I go to, and feel,
and you can just kind of vent to
yeah,
this person.
and just feel like a little bit more nice and a little bit like I'm at home,
Okay.
because home is not really home.
Got it. Real quick, we have a comment. What's the comment?
The comment from Gabriel Flores. What about his mental health? Is he supposed to take care of that himself too?
I was
Okay,
going to say something
We'll
about
get
that
into
as
that,
well.
yes. Yeah,
That
thank you,
50
Gabriel, for the comment. We will get into that here in a second.
So that 50-50 is the same way. I want to be his stability too, where he can come home and feel like he doesn't have to go to the bar, wait till the last hour before bedtime.
Does your man, well, you said you're single, but
I'm
in your
single,
past relationships, what type of frustration or I guess issues mentally did your men, your man that you were with
The
brought home?
frustration was is that I was the emotional pillar. Most of them would just break down and always rant and always complain and always like, I wouldn't say cry, but like just have that breakdown where I'll be there for them. I'd comfort them. I'd be their foundation and support. And I'd be like, where do I go? Where do I feel like I'm
so
getting my support?
they were emotionally breaking down to you, but when
To
it
me.
was your turn,
Yes. So that 50-50 exists for me. I have like, some people say I have high standards. It's not that high of
now
a
let
standard.
let me ask you a very personal question then, because I
course.
think a lot of women try to say, I'm trying to find this. Were you more aroused by your man opening up to you and crying to you, or less aroused by your man? That moment when he came to, oh my baby, I just lost my job. I can't. I don't know how I'm gonna take it. I don't know what we're gonna do about rent next week. I can't take this anymore. How did that make you feel?
Well, I wouldn't be aroused in that kind of situation.
But that's what you
But if he
told
comes
me.
home and he's like, it's a long day at work, my boss made me frustrated, I'd be like, yeah, totally, let's sit down, let's have this soup, let's have some coffee, let's talk about it.
But-
I listen to him rant. I'll be totally aroused because I'll be like, you're opening up to me because you trust me. You want to talk about it with me, not because like, oh yeah, work was like horrible and you don't want to talk about it.
How many times did that happen before you're like,
We're done.
you're less aroused by that?
I wouldn't say it wouldn't be the amount of times that they've done it, but the amount of times where I felt like I'm in my own corner and I don't have someone to pull me out of it.
Okay.
That's where I feel like I should get out of it.
So what were you pulling yourself out of though? If you needed to release your emotional stress, what was it? Same thing, like hard day at work.
Same thing, yeah.
Same
yeah,
things.
Hard day at work, some personal, some like
So
financials.
Were you guys 50-50 on the bills as well too, or were you doing most of the bill paying?
Well, in terms of like, I live with my family, so I don't worry about bills as much. But in the terms of dinner and drinks, is like, if he buys dinner, I buy boba. If I buy boba, or if he buys boba, then I buy dinner. That's the 50-50 that exists.
Okay, so what was he complaining to you about then?
Work. Usually it's like a work thing, friends, drama, family. There'd be a lot of irrelevant things or relevant things that exist.
Okay, so you're saying that if this man
They're
that
emotional.
kept on doing all these, complaining to, if he was able to at least hear your complaints, you would still be with this man to this day?
Probably.
Be honest.
I would say most of the time it's their own personality, like their habits, more than just their complaints. Like they're very pessimistic or they're just
What ethnicity
anger-ish.
was he?
Caucasian.
Caucasian. Okay. Got it. And so he never fixed his problem.
Yeah, he was very deep in the hole. Yeah.
He was never deep in the hole and he never was able to fix his problem.
Yeah.
And how long did you stay with him?
Majority of most of my relationships, it'd be about 3 months to 6 months tops.
3 months to 6 months. And what was your advice to him when you, like, how would you solve his issue?
I wouldn't say it's my problem to solve. It's his problem to solve. Like I said, the foundation of 50-50 is where it's his own issues to fix himself while I'm there for him.
So we got to your answer, Gabriel. And like I said, I always warn my Asian brothers out there and men in general, don't cry to your girl. Don't bring problems to your girl. She can't solve your problems, nor does she want to solve your problems. You have to be the one that solves your problem. You got to be the better guy. And I'm not calling you out on this, Lynn. It's just I've had enough guests. I've talked to enough people that the women don't have a solution to your problems. They don't want to solve your problems, nor should they solve your problems. I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. Women shouldn't solve a guy's problem. A man has to solve his problems. He should go to his boys to solve his problems, get over it, and be the man that she respects and can follow.
There you go.
Okay?
Agree.
What about yourself, Joseph? What is you said the 50-50, you kind of believed in it as well, but what is the
What's
50
the
that the man's bringing versus...
So when we talk about 50-50, it's just half. And I mean, I've been hearing what Lynn said, what Kristine says, and it really comes down to dichotomy where, you know, I have to agree. It's more of like a balance where I personally have much less experience in comparison to maybe Lynn or maybe Kean or maybe Kristine. I'm single as well, you know, but when I think about
Have you been in any type of relationship, long-term, short-term, or anything like that in the
pretty
past?
much a very short term,
How short are we
nothing to it.
talking?
Maybe like a month and a half.
Month and a half? And what happened? Why? Who broke up with who?
I think it was me.
You broke up
Yeah,
with
I
her.
broke up. Mhm.
Okay. Okay, and why?
For the most part, it was just I didn't see myself. I couldn't see myself growing in this relationship. I didn't think it was the right time or myself personally or for her. And if this kept going on, it would just be detrimental to the both of us.
What were the arguments consistently about?
We didn't argue. It
Okay.
was. I think it was a little bit unfair. I was the one who kind of told her it was like I don't think this is gonna work out between both of us.
And why? Why was that the case?
Just thinking about it now, I thought about all different perspectives where I came down to the conclusion where I have things I want to do first. And I just want to focus on what I have to do, what I want to do in my life. And, you know, it looked like she was giving her all, where in comparison to myself, I wasn't giving as much.
Were you guys intimate? You guys are having
Um,
sex, that type of stuff?
No, not like that.
Okay. Were you providing for her? Were you guys like official saying like, "Hey, I'm your man. Like, you know, this is my boyfriend."
It was more of a
girlfriend?
talking.
Talking
Yeah,
phases. Okay,
yeah.
so you guys never really got to that serious point. Did she ever once at all like kind of pressure you for like more long-term commitment? Like, hey, what is our relationship about?
Yeah,
You
we
know,
talked about it once or twice. We talked about it throughout, and then I guess it just came down to, well, university terms. It was towards the end of our term, and so I thought to myself, it's like, okay, you know, I don't think I'm gonna have enough time where you're going back to your family over out of state. I'm over here. We're not gonna see each other for a while. And I thought to myself, put my position in a long-term perspective. I was like, okay, can I see myself growing in this relationship? Is she going to grow in this relationship? Right.
Okay.
I always think it's unfair to tell yourself, oh, you know, to keep yourself in something that you don't see yourself.
This is very weird because most men don't break up with women. It's very rare that it's usually women that, you know, breaks up the relationship. So can you like point out to one thing like that you just said about her that you just said, hey, this isn't going to work out?
Yeah, if anything, she was a wonderful person, right? Like maybe I remember people asking me, what's your ideal type of person? And I remember it was like, oh, I guess like she checks off all the lists and check boxes I would have made 5 years ago. But when it came down to it and we're in the actual setting and we're talking and we're doing this and we're hanging out, going on dates, things like that, I just noticed it's like, oh, she would give all of her 50%, but me personally, I'm like, oh, my mind's elsewhere. I'm thinking about things I need to do.
Were you
things
not
I wanna
attracted
do.
to her?
I was attracted to
You
her.
were attracted
yeah.
to her? Were you like on these dates that you guys were going on, were you paying for these dates?
I paid for a couple days. She paid for another, and then a third date, fourth date, fifth date, we'd
So it
split.
wasn't a clear thing.
So they're splitting 50.
Yeah. Did you try to make at least intimate advances
Oh,
with her?
we had a few intimate events,
Advances, but besides that,
Yeah.
Okay.
because I just thought to myself, it's like, okay, I'm gonna just take this relationship, and I mean, a lot of things people are asking, and I feel like nowadays, like, oh, what's your body count? What are you doing? Are you just gonna bag her? What are you
Did
gonna
she
do?
have a high body count?
Oh no, she's relatively like reserved,
Okay.
right? Mm-hmm.
Got it. I'm still trying to figure out why you broke up with the relationship. If she was this, you know, sweet,
Wonderful
wonderful girl,
person.
you were obviously sexually attracted to her and wanted to be intimate with her, right? Why break up with something like that?
I just felt like I had my own priorities. I had things where I wanted to focus on this, right? This aspect of my life, me growing, doing these type of things.
This was fairly recent then?
Yeah, I'd say like a
A
year.
few months ago?
Yeah.
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 And so what are you doing right now? What are you doing right now to focus on yourself and work on yourself?
Well, if anything, I'm interning in Seattle. I'm from Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm trying to branch out, learn more about myself, learn where I can grow, do my own things. I mean, I have family back. I mean, majority of our family is in Illinois base, right? They immigrated from the U.S. I was born here. And so I was blessed enough to have my family around me. And so, when it came down to it, I saw an opportunity. Hey, my aunt's here in Seattle. I want to see what I can do.
Did you have any pressure from your family to do that?
To do that? No. It was
It
just my
it was
choice.
your choice. Okay.
Mhm.
If you do become a higher value man, quote unquote, right? Would you go back to her? Give her a
I
shot?
think she has a wonderful relation right now, and I'm very happy for her. Yeah.
Okay. And so this is after the fact, though. She moved on after you
Yes.
you dumped her.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
got it. Okay, I want to hear the rest of the guys, right? So the remain two guys. I'll start over here because obviously start on this side. So you didn't believe in the 50-50,
Yeah.
but you kind of touched upon it earlier, Ty,
Yeah,
right?
I think I need clarity
Yeah,
on
clear.
it.
So clear, like
So I'll
what
be
are
very,
the,
very
yeah,
clear
what are
right
the
now.
clear-
I'm very traditional, whereas I'm 29. My most recent relationship was when I was 21. So I have been single for 9 years. So I've done that whole development stage,
How
self-development.
long was that relationship?
A year.
A year.
So, I'll just give some context. I was very insecure about myself, right? 21, I'm not making money. Very young, trying to find my own voice. I mean, I was trying to find support from my girl at the time. So I needed some stability.
Who
you know?
broke it off?
She broke it off
She
because I was very insecure. She had a lot of guy friends. I'm like, ooh. So I grew up, my parents, like, if she has a lot of guy friends, then it's a red flag, right? So I had that mentality where I was very insecure whenever she went out, right? So fast forward to now, I think a man has to be 100% with or without a girl. He has to be okay with himself and be that man, be that king. He can be okay if she leaves him because he's going to be okay. Like we said, he can problem solve himself, right? So if something happens in times, let's say for myself, the business isn't doing well, I'm not going to rent to her. She does not have the solution. I'm going to go to my community of guys that have the resources, that have mentors that I can reach out to. I think for a woman, what she brings to the table is appreciation, respect, love. For a man, he has to bring everything to the table. Everything, right? For me, I've been dating for I would say seriously for last year. And what I'm looking for is peace when I come home and just appreciation, respect. Obviously we're guys, so we want the looks as well, right? Very simple.
Does body count matter to you?
It does. It does.
So what's the number that would be
Red flag.
Red flag, more than 3.
more than 3? Okay.
0 is ideal. 0 to 1, ideal,
Got it.
right?
You think that's possible, reasonable in this current dating market?
No, and I'm okay with it, right?
You know,
If she's gonna ask me about my body count, I'm okay sharing that. If I'm not gonna ask her, right? I think that's in the past.
how would you know then?
I would have to ask, but if I don't care about it, I'm not gonna be worried about it.
What would be the one thing? This is for all the ladies out there. Listen up, Asian sisters and every. What would be the one trait, one value that a woman could bring to the table that would, in a way, disregard if she had a body count? As a man of value, speaking of as a man of value, what would be the one thing that she could bring?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, so you have
I have standards.
okay.
If she does not fall on those standards, I can't do that.
So if she was all these things, loving, respect, submissive, coachable, all these things, but she had a body count of 5, done deal. Couldn't do it.
It would also depend on who she was dating, as well as does she have a father figure, why did those relationships not work, right? Were they meaningful? Did she learn something from it? Ideally, I want someone with less body count,
Yeah.
right? Because for me, I'll be very transparent. I'm waiting for the right person. I've always grew up, I'm not religious, but I grew up like that.
Okay.
So I thought my parents be the first love, right? Something that I want to, resemble and follow in their footsteps. It's not going to be possible, but if you find gems, you're going to find them.
Okay. All right. We'll get back on that. Okay. So, Kean, what do you think is the 50-50, right? What is a man supposed to bring to the table, and what is the... Because in essence, guys, hey, now that I'm getting to the last guest, right, that's answering this question, that's really what this question is. It was a very, I guess, back alley way for me to ask you guys, what does a man bring to the table, and what does a woman bring to the table? So 50-50. What are they bringing to the table?
I think my answer, like after like listening to everyone, I think Ty, he kind of like hits the mark for me with like 50-50. Like all you really need in like a guy, the guy brings everything, like Ty said, and the girl just needs to bring like their piece and like be good looking or whatever, and like good personalities.
Okay.
And like, yeah. Sorry, I don't really have like.
So does body count matter to you?
Body count doesn't matter for me. I mean, I found what Ty said is a gem. By girl, 0 body count. So
Okay.
it didn't really matter to me.
So your preference, though, if push comes to shove, though, your preference, what would the body count be?
Less than 3.
Less than 3, so 0 to 3. How about yourself, Joseph? Since we're all on this men on this panel here, Asian brothers, what's your ideal preference?
Honestly, I'd probably say around the same, 0 to 3, 0 to 5.
0 to 3, 0 to
Yeah.
5. Okay. Honey, I'll let you answer as well, too. Go ahead. What is the 50-50 that a man wants to bring to the table?
Well, I already told you that.
She answered that question?
She didn't say
Oh,
you did.
I apologize. I apologize.
You're trying to put me on the spot.
Yes,
Well, you
yes.
already know. Okay, you better bring the dinero or the chin. No, I'm just joking. The line.
Okay.
Filler.
I
Comment.
okay. What's the comment?
So, first we got Gabriel and Lex
Mhm.
saying, Ty, you are very mature for your age.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More mature than most Gen Zers.
Mhm.
And that Lex says he appreciates you giving a good account of yourself. And Sav makes the comment, look at the society we live in. Guys value low body count, but having them have a significant body count themselves. Double standards.
We were gonna get into that. So Sav, thank
Got
you very much.
attacked.
Thanks very much. We were gonna talk into that topic night, but
Women in check.
yeah. So we were gonna that question, but
We're ready to
um,
check you guys out.
real quick too. Did you guys know about that study, body count study, at all before you guys answered your questions? So, because obviously body count matters to the fellas, okay? So I'm gonna ask the ladies now, right? And I'll start here with my wife. Obviously, does body count matter to you?
This body count?
Yes.
Well, that
Men and women, obviously, right?
well, yes, that depends, right?
Well, what
For me, well, that depends. For me, I mean, if his body count is like 10 and down, but he's providing for everything else, you know, his body count for a woman is, say, okay, 10 and below. To me, I think that's fine. I mean,
so a man can have a higher body count,
Yeah.
10 and down.
yeah,
What about a woman?
no, I don't think so. From what I've grown, I mean, I'm pretty traditional. I mean, look at my body. I mean, I've only got him. We've met at 16 and shebang, and we're married, but and then have 3 kids later. But what I'm thinking, for a man, they have time to mature. They're bound to be sleeping around. They're bound to you know, grow up and whatever else. Okay, I mean, my dad wasn't, you know. So it's like, to me, men is okay, but for a woman, I don't believe in major, you know, higher up there, because then you don't value yourself. That's to me, because you want to give yourself to that special person. That's my view, and that's my belief that I've been carrying it through. So.
Kristine?
Oh. So I want to bounce off of that because I feel the same way too. Because I know, like, you know, women might have standard needs, right? And, you know, I don't, like, condone, like, fully sleeping around like that, you know, because you should value yourself. However, like, for me, for, like, men 10 and below, I think it's reasonable just because I know, like, you know, men have different things that they go through versus, like, women. But as a woman myself, I feel like, you know, it shouldn't be that high just because, you know, me growing up in the traditional household that I grew up in, it was super strict that where, like, you know, your body is your temple. That's what I was taught since I was a kid, you know, and growing up in a super religious household as well, you know, they teach us how to be, you know, very reserved and, you know, to figure that out. But I feel like as I grew older, you know, I understand myself more, and then that's when you put forth the value for yourself and what you put out. And I think that, you know, your body and how you take care of it and what you allow to ruin it or stain it in any shape, way, or form, you know, that's important. So I feel like I totally agree on bouncing off on what you said.
But you're talking about the female aspect, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas
For
the
males,
man.
I mean, I'm okay with just like what Sim said, 10 and below. I feel like that's reasonable for a body count for a man. Just
Would
'cause
you
I know-
guys date somebody or marry somebody that had, let's say, 50 or more?
Oh no. I
Okay,
mean,
so I'll let Lynn answer this real quick, sir, first. So, you know, does body count matter to you?
Wow, that threw me off.
Guy and gal, right?
Right,
Fine.
I wouldn't say body count really matters, but like Tai said before, it really depends on what they saw special in that relationship, the appreciation and what they really meant. In the terms of body count, do not care how much body count you do. 50 and above, it's definitely a little bit of a shot there. But I guess I'm not really grown in a very traditional household. I'm very undisciplined. I didn't have much of a parental figure at all growing up. So there's not much that I got to learn in terms of myself, relationships, foundation, and family. I kind of just had to grow up on my own to find my own family. That I never actually appreciated relationships as much and the sexual interaction with someone. So I guess you could say my body count is a little bit out there. But I am what you call a hopeless romantic. I always dated to marry, and it was always never really worked out, never really found that 50-50.
But do you believe it matters, though?
No, not really.
Okay,
at all.
man or woman?
Man or woman, no.
But
really
there is
depends.
a certain number, though.
There is a number, correct, in terms of like the 10, 15, and below, I would say, it would be.
Okay.
For both sides.
Both sides, yeah.
So let me ask you this, and I'll ask the ladies this, right? Which gender, man or woman, which one has the easier time to get sex?
Woman.
On a scale of like percentage, well, what's the percentage? Is it like 60-40, 70-30? Who do you think has the easier time to get sex?
I don't really know how to answer that. I
Just
feel like
what do you think?
men want it more than women, but women have the bigger advantage to get it, but don't want it as much.
But can we get it, though, as a man? Even though we want it, can we get it?
You could.
You really think? You think, like, if I walked out today and I walked...
Without dying.
I'll give you obviously, as a man, I'll give you guys an experience, because I think a lot of women don't really know what a male experiences on a day-to-day basis. Even an old man as myself, that you guys are thinking that I should be old and I have a wife and I shouldn't be looking at other women, but this urge to have sex with other females is like constantly on our brain. It's literally like someone on our shoulder constantly saying, I want to have sex with somebody. I want to have sex with somebody. I want to have sex with somebody. Right? So my point is, if I go out on the street and I go talk to 10 women, just women, what do you think my chances of getting one of them, or what do you think percentage? Out of 10 women.
1 out of 10. 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10,
That's
10%.
yeah.
Okay, so it's very low, right?
Yeah.
So you, as a woman, though, if you walked out on the street and talked to 10 men, what do you think? How do you think how many men of those 10 men would say, yes, I'll have sex with you?
Like 6 out of 10.
I would probably argue probably 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10,
Really depends on who you talk to.
If there was no strings attached, if there was no, like, if I had my wife and she wasn't going to find out and she wasn't going to yell at me, or she found out but she didn't care, 100%, right? So now you know that, right? That men have a way harder time, right? So do you think body count matters still?
No.
Okay.
Not significantly.
Not significantly.
Like I said, it's like finding a gem in the rough. That's it.
Okay.
It's majority of what you add value. It's your benefits and value that matter more than anything.
Okay, so it's other things that matters, right?
Yes.
Do you think it matters to the guy that you want, though?
Probably not.
So the guy that you want, you don't think it's gonna matter?
It really depends, because guys, I don't know. I guess I came across lots of low standard men, but
but where are they now?
Gone out of my life.
Exactly. So, and your last relationship, he was a whiner and a crybaby, and
majority of them, yes.
Correct. So, do you think a man like that? You think a man that exhibits those type of traits? You think those men are good with women?
No, not at all.
So they're not the exceptional men.
No.
So, do you think the exceptional men who have built themselves up to be attracted to women, do you think they would care about body count?
Yes, they would, significantly.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So then this comes back to the question earlier that I tried to ask Tai, right? Hopefully to help you out.
Okay.
If body count matters to the men that you want, right? What is the one trait that you could bring that would let them disregard the body count?
my own personal value. To me, I've always grew independent, so I'd say independency. I don't really need a man in my life. I don't really need them. I just want them.
Do you
So,
think that man wants your independence?
That's honestly up to the man that I come across. If
Someone
the
else
one-
want to comment on this before I comment? Yeah, Ty.
So if you're independent and you're like I can be my own lady and do my own thing, then man of, I don't like the word high value man, because a lot of high value men think about like money and muscles. I think man of excellence, that has everything together. They can find a woman that is appreciative of him, right? That can respect him. I'm like, I'd rather have her give me the love that I want rather than a girl who's independent. It's like, I'm gonna give it to you when I feel like it, right? A man wants to come home to feel peace.
Well, let's flip the script. The man, whatever man that you're with, high value, low value, average, or whatever, would you want him to be independent of you?
Of me.
Yeah, like say, hey, I'm gonna see you whenever I see you. You know, I'm gonna go do my own thing. You got your bills, I got my bills. You know, that's independent of you, right? Would you want him to be independent of you?
If he wants to be independent, it's 100% on his choice. But I still want that foundation in a relationship. That it just sounds like a business meeting if you have that kind of.
So hey,
It's not a
so
relationship.
we're at the apartment. We're at the apartment. We're just hanging out, Netflix and chill. Someone breaks through the door. Tries to rob us. Hey babe, it's your turn today. I'm independent of you. It's not my turn today.
Well, I'd probably beat him up and at that point, but.
And then what would you do to the man that just did that to you?
Did what?
I just said, hey, I'm not gonna take, I'm not gonna step up. I'm not gonna
I'd throw him out there. I'd grab his wallet, throw it.
So you'd break up with this man.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't want his independence then. What about if the bill came in and say, hey, our apartment bill is $2,000 this month? Oh, it's your turn to pay.
That wouldn't be the same, because to me that's the 50-50 is the financials and that dependency. But the independency that I'm talking about is that I have my own life, but at the end of the day I want to share it with you. At the end of the day, I want to hear about your day, and I want you to hear about mine. I want to be able to talk about it, socialize, and feel like, something happened at work. I'm a little bit upset about it. Can I hear your point of view, kind of thing? That's the 50-50 I want. Where like how you did a great day, you got that upsell, you got that extra money today, you got that bonus. That's great. That's fantastic. I want to hear about that. I did the same thing on my end. Just that end of the day conversation where like I got a second view of what happened.
Do you think a man that's 100%, because you said you want a 100%, right? I'm listening to you and I'm hearing what you're saying, right? So you want 100%. If you think this man that's providing, protecting, committing all his values to you for 100% of his values to you, you think a man like that is going to really require your 50%?
I wouldn't say I would be giving 50. I'd be giving 100% as
but
well.
what would that 100% be?
Like I said, it starts off 50 to make it 100. It's that unbalanced scale. Sometimes I'm going to have my little low financial days. My income, the way I make my income, is very, very unbalanced. Sometimes, I didn't make that cut. Can you help me out? Same way with him. If he didn't make that cut, I can help him out.
But that's my point, though. A man who's providing for you 100%, would he even really care about your 50% finances?
If he's uncomfortable with that fact, we can talk about it and figure out a different solution.
Okay. So, I'll tell you right now, a man who's that value of that, he doesn't care about your money, nor does he want your money.
Understandably. Exactly.
So the question is, he wants you. That's right. That is. But we still haven't answered the question. What is it about you that he wants?
Just that support, that foundation.
Do you think a man that goes bust his butt
home
every day, takes the grind, doesn't even care about the outside world, he fights this outside world, is a man of value and is successful, do you think he needs your support?
Probably not. If he'll have two different views. There's his group of friends where he can go and get an answer for his solutions.
Did you want to say something, Kristine? Okay, go ahead.
I know what the answer is.
Okay.
So from that whole scenario, it's literally love and sex. like making him happy, being there to, you know, be that person's like, you know, support, emotional support. Because if they're bringing 100% and you think that for me, if like my husband was bringing 100%, like he's not gonna care about money or anything like that. He's gonna care if I love him, if I take care of him, and if I, you know, suffice his needs, because he's out there busting his butt, you know, being the pillar of our family. So it's like I gotta give it back. I have to reciprocate that energy, and then most likely that's what he wants.
So what is this love that you're talking about?
Take care of my daughter.
I get the sex part. We finally said one pragmatic thing, that a woman is supposed to bring a table for her man, and especially a high value man. So to answer Sav's question, body count matters, because that is one of your primary values that you're supposed to bring to your man. And if you're giving it to everyone else, or if you've given it to everyone else, the man doesn't want it. But we talk about love now, though. What is love? What else are you giving? Because in your relationship, I don't want to get too personal, so you don't have to answer this, but do you give sex to your man whenever he wants it?
I do. It's kind of flip-flop. I want it more than my man.
Okay. Even though you're the leader in the relationship, you make the final say.
I do. I think that's just a respect thing for both of us, because however, even though my husband is our pillar of our relationship, he still respects my decision as well. Like, you know, if he knows it's going to be upsetting. However, I do know that there are harder decisions that, you know, a man needs to make with like financials or anything like that he has to make the call on. And I respect that. But, you know, it's just, I think, like, that we do have this open line of communication that he's, out of respect for me as his wife, he'll ask. Or he'll not necessarily ask, he'll just tell me to. Just, you know, just to be informative, too.
Does he normally is the one that instigate those intimate situations, or is it you?
I mean,
so
just to be real, it's probably
you.
me.
Does your man have a lot of ambition?
He does.
He does have a lot of ambition,
He
but
does.
you're still the higher breadwinner.
I guess.
And how long has this been?
Like, what do you mean? Can you...
Like how long has it that you've made more money than him?
Oh, just recently, because I'm graduating from nursing school, and he was the one who actually, like, helped us throughout when we moved here, because getting out of active duty and, like, after getting injured and hurt, he literally stepped up to the plate, you know, and before I was more... however, even if I did make more, my husband still did the finances, because I'm not really, I wouldn't say I don't really care for it, but I'm not a numbers person. You know, he's the one who educates me on a lot of those things, and I let him handle it.
And who watches the kid? Because you know, it's
Me.
8 months old. So you work from home, or
No, I work at the hospital. I work at a spinal cord injury unit at the hospital.
So when you're at work, who watches the kids?
My daughter. I work at night, and he works during the day.
So
and
you guys
we switch.
split.
We make
okay,
it.
So you've made it
convenient.
work.
Yes.
Okay, and so is there a moment in time, because you said your husband is ambitious?
Mm-hmm.
Is there going to be a time where he's going to overtake you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And at that time, would you expect him to take the full responsibility, or will you still be 50-50 on the finances?
I feel like as we get older and stuff, because I do want another kid and, you know, add on to our family and stuff like that. I told him that, and we've agreed on this, that if this does happen, and he's able to be our full backbone or our full pillar financially, that, you know, he would want me to stay home or even work part-time, just because I do like my job. I love, you know, being in healthcare and doing that, because I work really hard to be where I am. However, you know, we did talk about it, and I would be willing to step down if that's, you know, what my husband would want, because, you know, he's very ambitious and he works really hard, and I know that for him, like, staying home isn't an option.
What's
for
he
him.
doing to get to the next step? If you don't mind.
School and everything like that. Finishing his bachelor's right now.
What's his career going to be?
He's going to be in business.
Business, like an entrepreneur, like doing his own business? Or?
I'm not too sure, to be honest, just because, like, I know how we're talking about, like, responsibilities. Like, his family is very traditional also, and they're very on the business mindset and healthcare mindset too, and I know, like, eventually, like, he'd want to go into, like, numbers, like accounting and managing, like, stuff like that. Okay. I'm just not...
So he's trying to level up.
There you go.
So,
yeah.
but prior to this thing, he was the breadwinner, and then just recently.
Yes, because we were both in the military, and him being he outranked me for a little bit, you know, and he made more and whatnot. However, But at the same time, like I said, like, you know, if it ever came down to it and, you know, he overtook me, which I have no doubt, you know, and I support
And you've
him.
had this is for in a few months. Only
Yeah.
a few months.
Mhm.
So let's be 100% honest now.
Yeah.
Right? Because we hear women say this all the time. So is there a time clock? Is there a time clock on his timeline?
5 years. We've talked
So
about it.
5 years. So it
yes.
has to be 5 years. What if he does not accomplish what he needs to accomplish in 5 years?
Then I will take the reins. It is what it is. Like, it's like I said, like, it's 50-50, right? Like, you know, you tried, you know, this is your moment to fulfill what you need to fulfill in this time frame. Especially, like, you know, if you want another kid, I'm 30. Like, you know, my biological clock in my head is ticking, and I have goals within a 5-year plan. And if we don't reach that, then I'm going to take the reins. Like, I still have that independency where I know it's still in me, whether I let him be the more independent one in our marriage. But I, too, like, it's still in me. Like, if I have to be the one to grind and be more independent, then I'll do it. So, and we've had, I guess since we get older, like since we've gotten older and to this age, we've talked about that more. So that's why it was a little bit easier for me to answer your question.
Would he be the leader at that point if he started making more money than you?
If he?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I'll give him the reins if that's what he wants. If that's what's going to make him happy, and you know, and he's always been ambitious to being that one to provide for a family. You know, so it's really all a matter of, you know, playing your role and figuring out what your role will be.
Okay. You're a rare one, Kristine.
I'm
I'm gonna be
sorry.
100%. No, that's a good thing.
Okay.
You hey guys, you know, because we do live in an Asian culture that do hold ourselves to some certain standards, and I get it. We do run into people still that kind of abide to these cultural structure standards, but you guys have to realize that this isn't the case right now, right? You're a
I
very
agree, though.
exception to the rule, right?
I agree.
Because
It is. It is rare. Like, I mean, because
let people know it's rare.
it's really rare. Because to be honest, my husband was my gemstone. I've been through, you know, my formal, like, you know, my past, and you know, I was in a really long relationship before, and I was married before. Actually, I was married young.
Okay.
So that's probably
no kids from that previous marriage, though.
my daughter.
Okay.
My husband stepped in to be the great dad that he is to our daughter. So
So how old was your daughter?
she was 1 when I got divorced.
So how old is she now?
She's 8.
She's 8.
Lucky 8.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Now I know why.
Now you know why.
Now I know why. Now I know why. Okay.
A little more insight. There you go.
Now I know why. Yes. Now I know why this is working out. Like I said, I don't want to be disrespectful.
Oh, you're
okay?
fine.
But I just have to tell the truth as it is, because my Asian brothers, you gotta. She was a single mom with a lower value. That's the reason why this guy took on this relationship. No disrespect.
Oh
to you.
no, you don't need
This-
to be.
this is just because I was like thinking to myself, this guy has
I
a
was
high
hopeless
value.
for a while.
This guy is high value, right? He's doing things right, or at least he was at one point. He recently just lost his job. But why would this high value man, who's doing his thing, why would he submit his leadership to his wife, right? And because this is a very good learning lesson to you guys, right? Did he have kids from a previous relationship?
No, he did not.
So single guy. How old is he? now?
He's 31.
31, and he met you when he was in his 20s,
Yes.
in essence. Okay. Hey, guys.
Oh, we
hey.
have
Okay, comment.
I think these ones are directed to Lynn.
Okay, go ahead.
Oops.
This is a comment to Lynn.
Actually, there's quite a bit of comments.
Go ahead. Okay.
We'll read a few.
We'll read
Start a
this.
fight. We're gonna start a
Yeah.
fight.
Well, a lot of these guys are asking about, like, body counts, like why it matters, and the big comment that seems to be trending here is we don't want independence from a woman. We want to be appreciated. Let's see, and what does 100% look like?
Well, that's a thing that Kristine kind of touched upon a little bit. Then I'm trying to elaborate now because I think our Asian sisters, but women in general, if you guys can learn from this one thing that we're trying to get to the bottom of, I think it can really help you, right? So one of the things that you said, right, is you gave him sex, right? Bam. So you hear loyalty all the time from men of value or men in general. We want loyalty. And when we talk about loyalty, primarily it's sexual loyalty. It's that sexual access is for us only, right? And so the fact that your husband was getting that from you consistently and from you, you know, when he wanted it, that's one of the huge things, okay?
And also that Kristine isn't like with her body count. She's keeping it down. She's only taking care of herself. She's keeping herself looking young, and that's what matters too to a man, right? Oh, to a man also, she's keeping it low, even though she has her daughter, right? But then her value is still up there because she is not trying to go all out there, you know. So that's probably why.
Well,
she cherishes them.
Well, guys, the thing is that she does the traditional values. She brings the cooking, the cleaning, the housewife duties, right? Even though she makes kind of the decisions in the house, that's what she was saying, but she still brings her part. And actually, she kind of takes a little bit up of the values that he's lacking, right? And so, like I said, it's not a diss to your husband. It's just that he was a lower value man that was able to kind of take upon this situation. Okay, comment.
Well, I think what you just said, it answers some of what
Yeah.
Stoic said, because his question was directed to Kristine. Why would he submit to a woman that has already been married and is divorced? Sex becomes redundant after a while. How do you keep a man if sex becomes redundant?
Correct. Because like I said, guys, he's a lower value man. He doesn't understand his own value. And this is a lesson for all our brothers, is like, get your values high, work on your values. But when you do so, realize what your value is. Because I think a lot of guys undervalue themselves and a lot of women overvalue themselves. That's just the truth, right? I mean, shit, look at Jeff Bezos, right? He's married now. He proposed to a 56-year-old, pretty much monkey brancher. I don't know if you guys heard what that term is. But she's a woman that literally jumps from a man to a man as long as she gets a better value man, right? So in her heyday, when she was young and she was able to get the athletes, the superstars, the young Chads, the Tyrones, she got pregnant and got hooked up with the alphas, right? This is a term we call in the space all the time, right? We to my Asian brothers, right? Alpha fucks, beta bucks, right? So all the alphas got the sexual access, gave her the kids. And now that she can't have kids and all those alpha guys are not knocking on her door anymore, what is she going to? The beta bucks, right? The guy that will take care of her financially, long-term commitment. And so for our guys that are in that situation, I think this really touches on our Asian culture, because a lot of Asian guys, we focus on the finances. We think that if we can be the bucks, that we will be a value man to a woman. And what you guys don't realize is that if that's all you think that you need to bring to the table, and if you think that by doing so and just getting sexual access to by bringing just money, you're not going to get the best candidate. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna have the guys answer that now, because I still want to know what you guys think, because body count matters to you guys, right? You guys all said that 3 or less. I don't know if you guys know of a study. There was a study recently done where they polled men and women for marriage approvals, long-term marriage. And the ones that had the most happiest marriages, right, are women that had 5 or less body count. So that magical number is 5. Okay, so anything past 5, it dropped down by like 20 to 20%. 80% if you're a virgin. Once you hit 5 or more, it dropped down to like 20%. Okay, so body count matters. Like I said earlier, you said body count when there was nothing that would sway you, right? But besides the sex, right? What are one thing that you're looking for in a female?
Honestly, respect is a huge one, right? Okay. Now that we're getting to, let's say, the dating market, right? You mentioned money. A guy needs to level up in so many different aspects, right? Like, if you leave with money, for example, the only thing that the woman's going to look for is your money. But if you come in with purpose, with, your own character, she's going to... Money and your style and the way you come in is the first step to step into the door. Your personality and what you bring to the table is going to keep you in that room, right? And I think for me, just respect has been the main thing ever since I've been dating.
How would a woman show you respect, though? Because, like I said, we always talk about these vague terminologies. We say love, we say respect, we say commitment, but we don't actually talk about what
I think for me, respect means committing to one person, staying with
fidelity. So her
yes.
sex to one,
Yes,
to you
exactly.
only.
So like Kristine mentioned, sex, right? Access. We talked about access. It's like I just want you, and you can't have anybody else. I think that's what I would want in a woman.
Would you want to have sex with other women?
Yes, you. Yeah, as a guy, yeah, I want to. Right? We're always primed to like, oh, I like this girl. I like how she looks. But in my mind, I'm gonna be loyal to one girl. But as a high value man, a man who has everything that he's worked for us.
Because I wanted to touch on our viewers' comments, right?
Yeah.
Because he said something about having sex with one woman for the rest of your life.
Mm.
Do you think that a man should only be sexually loyal to his one woman?
Personally, he should. But he also has the ability to go and find other women, right? Because as a man, like, it's 10 times harder for us to, you guys know it, or maybe you guys are still young, you guys have access to women from school, but for me, I work from home, I don't have access to women, so what do I have to do? I have to cold approach, I have to do dating apps. Like, how much effort does a guy have to put in to meet a woman, right? A lot. A woman just like, I'm chilling.
Yeah, I mean, we
Right.
talked about it earlier, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
out of 10 attempts, we might get one if we're
Yeah.
good, right?
Yeah.
For women, they'll get 10 out of 10,
Yeah.
and they can just be themselves.
Even with money, if you have a lot of money, but you don't have the communication skills, you don't come up with confidence, no one's going to respect you. And if you're only leaving with money, they're going to stay just for the money. So for me, it's like, I want the respect. I just want you, and that's it. You can't have access to
So
anybody.
sexual access.
Yes.
But you might be open on your end. You could still have sex with other
I
women.
can, but I'll be loyal to one woman.
Okay, we'll get back to that in a bit then. What about yourself, Joseph? What is the one thing that would, make a woman, like, what value would she bring to you that would, get your commitment from her?
I think for me, it's what can we do together in this world in the short time we have, right? I mean, I feel like in this world, there's no matter if we think we can live 100 years, 10,000, it's simply not true. In a moment's notice, something can happen and things can change forever. So for me, it would be, what can we do right now? What can we achieve in this world? What can we do together? What can we grow? What can we see? What
would be one of those things? Yeah, give me an example.
Yeah, so, all right, I want to be able to be financially free. I want to retire my family. I want to explore the world, right? I want to see all the different things that maybe my family couldn't do, or I want to provide for the people I couldn't do before. How could we do this together?
Do you think a woman would respect you if she had to help you achieve that goal? Or do you think women will actually be there? Do you think you could go to a woman and say, hey, babe, I like you. I want to be with you. And what I'm going to do is I want you to help me build my empire. Do you think a woman is going to...
I think it's more, if we're going to go down in terms of things like, okay, if I'm just going to dumb it down, what can I grow with you?
Do you think a woman will give you a chance, though, if that is what you would require from her?
What, just to grow with me? For
Yeah,
respect and understanding?
like, hey, I'm not there yet, babe. I'm working towards it. I'm going to build an empire, but I want you to jump on ship right now. I haven't built it yet. I don't have a castle yet. I'm not a king yet. But I'm getting towards it. I have the ambition. I have the drive. I believe in myself. But I'm going to need you to jump on right now and give me a hand to get to that. Do you think a woman will jump on ship with you and respect you when you do that?
I don't think I would ask her of it.
But it would be realistic because you don't have it, right? You don't have the pragmatic things, right? If you were a man of value, you would have a car, you would have a house, you would have an investment portfolio, right? You would have real estate, whatever, Bitcoin, stocks. You would have your shit together.
Yeah.
You don't have it, right? I'm not saying you right now. I'm just saying in general, your ideology. This man that we're talking about does not have it right now. He's saying I have the ambition to go get it, but I don't have it right now. Join me right now, and we'll go build it together. Do you think a woman would give a man like that a chance?
It depends on how ambitious she is. But if most cases, then I'd probably say no.
Yeah, so no, right?
Here's a comment to Joseph.
Yeah.
This is from Stoic. Most
Yeah, what do you think
Awesome.
about that? I'll let you answer that question.
And it's probably why I'm still single. But here's the thing: I'm doing my own thing, and I think that's what matters.
And that is matters. But we got to let you know, take my advice for what it is, but I'm letting my other Asian brothers know is that women wait at the finish line, right? They want the best man that they can get, but that man has to achieve those accomplishments already, right? We talked about it, right? One of the things why Asian men are one of the least desired apps, in dating apps, right?
Okay.
This is a cultural thing that we used to have in place, right? Not only religion used to have this cultural thing in place, but our Asian society used to have this thing in place. They said, hey, be a good girl, be a good boy, right? Be a man of the family, right? Do what's right for the family, right? Work on your career, be an engineer, lawyer, doctor, right? Stereotypical things, right? And then you guys build together, marry at a young age, work together, right? Kind of like what Kristine and her husband is doing, right? 50-50, build it together, stay with each other, right? But the problem is those things aren't in place anymore. That's one thing I need you guys to understand, and my Asian brothers out there, in this current dating market, we have social media. We have Instagram, we have Bumble, we have Tinder, we have all these dating apps. Women have access to all the top tier men. And when they have access to all the top tier men, their natural proclivity is to choose the best man. So why would they choose a man that is still trying to build himself? They're not going to. They're going to choose the man that's already built himself, or unless they themselves cannot attract that man. And we're getting to that kind of conversation as well too, right? So can you think of anything else before I move to Kean? Do you think of anything else that, what would a woman bring to you that would make you commit?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I really agree with Tyler says. It's more of just respect. And in the respectful terms of, okay, I'm that access. We'll use that word again. Where I'll give myself to you, but I don't want you to give yourself to really anyone else.
Yeah.
So sexual access, same as you. Okay, what about yourself, Kean?
Kind of have to backpack off the both of them. They give respect. Just to grow with them. I'm gonna say lay your goals out for me. If you can't give me like equal or greater value than what I already show you, because like Ty said, it's hard for a guy to like find a girl. Like you have to like show all your cards. You have to do this and that. For me personally, I would say it's just tough, because like if you can't like, I don't really know how to articulate this, but it's kind of just like it's broad for me right now.
Would you guys say that the number one thing that men value, and especially high value men, right? The guys who have built themselves to think, would you, and I know it's a very divisive term, right? But would you guys agree that the number one thing that men look for is submissiveness?
I think so, yeah, because like we kind of just want to have like, we do all the things that guys do, and then we're just at the end of the day we're just like, you just gotta lay it on me, like you gotta give it to me.
Would you guys agree submissiveness? Yeah. What is submissiveness to you then? What is the term submissiveness to you?
Or to you.
For me, I would say just kind of like sexual access.
Sexual
Let me
access.
have my way.
Okay. How about yourself, Joseph?
I guess really just being there. That access, again, whether it be emotional, sexual, that type of thing.
Ty?
I would say following my lead, right? Being able to do, and I want to piggyback on what you said as well, Joseph, is like, if you imagine the hero story, right? If you watch any movie, the girl isn't the main prize, is his purpose, right? So, for me, if we're leading our relationship, right, or building our empire, she should be supporting it, not like putting it in 50-50, right? So that's what I would say as how do I articulate this and reframe it? But that's my point.
Yeah,
right
following
there.
your lead.
Yeah,
right?
following my lead. Yeah.
So on the show, we call out the men and the women on the show all the time because we're about the truth, and we'll get into the truth later if you guys are interested. But I'm talking on all these kind of modern topics like 50-50, body count, that type of stuff, right? So do you think all men are leaders?
No.
Do you think most men are leaders?
No.
And so if women are looking for leaders, right, would you guys all agree that women are looking for leaders? Who would agree or not disagree or disagree? Raise your hand if you agree that most women are looking for
I
leaders.
would say so, yeah.
Lynn, no? So you disagree? Okay, so what are you looking for then? If you what do you think most women are looking for then?
Well, you're not wrong. A lot of women do like that foundation, that leadership, that dominance. 100%. A woman wants that dominance because they're tired. They want to be They want to appreciate the man more than they have to work for. 100% correct. For me, in my terms, is I grew up independent since I was a kid. So I never had anyone to rely on. So that's not my number one priority for looking for someone. When I want a man, 100%, I want to respect him. I want to appreciate him. I want to show him how much and tell him how much and do everything I can to show him how much I appreciate them, respect them, and care about them. Because like I said before, I don't need them, but I want them.
Would you respect a man that's not a leader though?
Yes. It feeds off into what he said. It's very ambitious. It's a matter of when a man finds someone, a woman or man finds someone at their low state, it's because they see the potential. It's because they see that they can build their empire.
You say that, but your actions speak different though. Because the man that you were with prior, he was not a leader.
But I saw something in him.
You saw what then? What's like a...
Comment till then. Did you come from a single family home?
I came from a no family home.
So she did not come from a family.
Every-
Adopted or...
Okay, if I have to be very personal, I am from a family. I have a family.
Yeah. Yeah.
The moment I was born, my mother gave me away to my grandmother.
Okay.
So
to
I
your
grew up with my grandmother, and I was very much a mama's girl. Always asked where she was. Never knew where my father went. But the number one thing that stuck to me ever since my grandma had told me was just be patient. And I've always been patient since. And I always understood everyone's situation.
Did your grandma tell you things to look for? Did she teach you for things to look for in a man?
No.
Okay. So what was she telling you to be patient of?
We
for?
grew up with mostly single mother family. I've never really had a father figure or just a man figure.
Okay.
The man figures in my family.
So your grandma was single as well too?
She had a thing.
She had a situationship.
A situationship for a grandmother. Yeah.
Gotcha. Got it.
He was very useless. I grew up. He's still around to this day.
So let me ask you this then, because I asked you this earlier. Do you think your grandma respected that man?
100%. Yes, she respects everyone. She respected him because he brought financial income.
Did you respect him?
No.
But he brought finances?
He brought finances to my grandmother. That's
But
the
then
only
how was
reason
he-
why I respected
But
him.
then how was he useless then?
He was a gambler.
So he blew all their money.
He blew money. Our family had a lot of car problems growing up. That's something I remember, which makes me in my career today. I am a service advisor that works with cars. Growing up, he would take their money to fix their car, quote unquote, and just blow it away, and our car would still be broken. And
Yeah.
growing up,
So he was really useless. He didn't really provide that.
he just provided his work money for rent, the bare minimum.
Just enough.
Yeah.
Just enough.
Not even 50, just like 40.
So what did your grandma do? Because you think that she respected him, right? But what did you think? How did your grandma show respect to this guy?
She worked with him. She did her best to understand his situation and try to help him grow his empire and be better, because he did have financials. He did have the money. He was working constant hours, and he was providing the money that he needed to. And she cooked, she cleaned, she did laundry, she took care of the kids.
So
They didn't have a kid together, no.
Do you
but
think you can be like your grandma then?
No, not at all. Because
You don't want to be.
I don't want to be something that I didn't have. I want to build a family that can be reliant.
So once again, right? You're this man that you used to be with, but you dumped him because he was too emotional and wasn't emotionally intelligent for you, right? He was too emotional himself, couldn't fix his own problems, and he wasn't emotionally intelligent to you. And your grandma's man, who was useless, didn't do providing, protect, but she was able to give all her values to him. but you won't do that for him, right? So once again, none of these men that you've had experience with are leaders, right? So my point is, would you respect a man that isn't a leader?
Yes. It's a matter of him showing leadership.
And okay, so then what would you do? Because your grandma was traditional. She cooked, clean. Maybe she gave him. I don't know. It's kind of hard to talk about, right? Like talking about your grandma having sex,
she's
but
had sex
but
with
she had
him.
sex with him, right? So she gave him all her values, right? What would you do to this man that you says is not a leader, but you would give him respect? What would you give for him?
I'd leave him.
You'd leave him.
The best that I can do for him is leave him.
So you wouldn't be with this man then.
No.
So you wouldn't.
He's not building that leadership.
So but then how could you respect him then if you would leave him?
I respect him because he provides the financial to help the family. Something that my grandma lacked.
No, I'm talking about a man similar to that
Now,
guy.
if it's something I was lacking financial wise, yes, I'd respect him.
Okay.
As someone who is trying to build that leadership and that financial stability, I would respect him because he's providing something I lack and I don't have. Now, personality wise and something he lacks in the department that I need.
But by definition, him not being a leader, he would lack these things.
Sure.
So that's the whole point. He wouldn't have these things for you to respect. So how could you respect a man that wouldn't have these traits? That's the kind of the contradiction that I'm trying to figure out, right? The oxymoron that I'm trying to figure out. This man wouldn't have the qualities, the traits that you would respect. So how could you respect him?
I'm just a little ambitious. That's it.
You're ambitious,
Yes.
but he's not. So what would you respect him?
Because he provides things that I don't have.
And what would those things be?
The financials. In the situation that if I was in my grandma's shoes, I'd respect him because he provided the financials that I didn't have.
But you said he blew it all off. He didn't freaking really give you. Yeah, he didn't give you guys
He'd blow
anything.
off the money that my family provided.
Oh, so you would just take a bare minimum man.
I wouldn't take one personally, no.
Okay, so what would let's say a pragmatic thing. The bills, right? 100% of the bills. What would you expect this man to cover? 60-40, 50-50, 70-30 before you respected him?
50-50.
So as long as he's covering 50% of the bills, you're okay with that. And would you let him lead you?
If he shows me reason to lead.
Well, he's doing 50-50, right? He's obviously not taking care of all the bills.
If it's a matter of if it's a loop. If it feels like it's a loophole and it's constant and it's just constant, the same thing 50-50 all the time and not consistently building up, then I won't respect him if it starts becoming constant.
Well,
if it's consistency, I'd respect him.
No, but that's 50-50. I mean, a man that has ambition and he's going to get better, he's going to be more than 50-50, right? So it's, for example, the average guy in the Western world, right? 5'8", right? $40,000, $50,000 a year, right? No game, not good looking, not a Chad, not a Tyrone, right? Nothing like that, right? Just your average guy, run-of-the-mill guy, right? That's the guy we're talking about. Would you respect his leadership?
Yes.
Okay, hey guys, hey, a lot of our Asian average brothers out there, hit her up, hey, check out that Instagram, hit her up on Instagram, right? Because I personally think it's cap because you've already left a man that kind of exhibited these things, but I don't think you would respect that
Can we
man.
start over here?
Yeah, sure. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so I've had a history of men that are pretty average.
Okay.
The only reason why I chose them, respected them, and supported them and appreciated them is because I saw their ambitions. I saw that something that could have been built to their empire. That's why I choose an average man. It's because they provide that leadership.
But ultimately, the reality was they didn't come through with their ambition.
And that's where it falls apart. So 100%, to answer your question, leadership is a choice.
But so would you say then that these men, in a way, unfortunately, kind of bamboozled you?
Yes.
So my point exactly is you don't want the average man. Because he was average, but he showed signs of being above average, and that's why you were with him.
Yes.
But once he didn't, unfortunately, follow through and actually achieved the above average status, you no longer wanted it.
Yes.
So you don't want an average man. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Right? So, yeah. So my
All
brother,
right,
I'm
there
sorry.
we got the
Sorry.
answer.
We almost said you had a chance, but it was that close. Okay.
You men need to level up.
Yeah. So that's what I get about, because. Okay. Well, before we get to that, did I ask you guys already? Do you think most men are leaders today?
I don't think most are. They're not. They're not leaders. Some they just follow along whatever the top guy has. Like, let's say like Tai over here, good looking, nice suit. Something I might lack. So I would consider myself a follower at times.
Okay.
And like,
So do you think, if you admit that, hey man, that's the first step to helping and correcting your situation, right? Do you think a woman, I'm sorry, do you think you can demand submissiveness from a woman when you're not a leader?
I don't think like, I mean, I'm still in school, so I don't think I'm in any place to like demand anything at the moment. It's kind of just like whatever, like university students, like they're just like get in a relationship. Hopefully it works down the line, whatever.
At which level would you become that you think you would have to become before you think you could demand submissiveness?
I mean, like level, like
Yeah,
in terms of
whatever
value.
values you think level is.
I think in terms of value, like me, if I finish school and attain like the dream job I want, and it's like I have financial stability over myself, I can do like whatever, continuing my dreams and goals that I laid out for myself in my plan that I have.
Is that just financial goals though?
Not just financial, more just like, okay, I guess it is just financial. I just want to be rich when I grow up.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'9".
5'9". And do you plan to get in shape? Do you plan to work out or anything like that?
I'm an athlete. I still play soccer.
Okay.
Yeah. And growing up, I was a multi-sport athlete. I did cross country.
You still doing that now?
I just stick with soccer now because that's the only thing I'm good at.
What's your body weight?
190 right now.
190, 5'9", 190. Okay. Are you planning to get into better shape?
Actually, yeah. When I come back from my trip from Vietnam, just keep working out.
Okay.
Women like that.
And when you finish your career, your ambition, what do you think you'll earn per year?
Say maybe like 120K roughly.
Per year?
Yeah.
Is it something in IT? Is it something in...
I'm a computer science major.
Okay. Do you think 120K? You think a 120K is enough to demand submissiveness from today's modern woman?
For my girl, I think so.
You have a girl
Yeah,
that you
I do.
think? Oh, so you're currently with the girl
Yeah.
and you think she'll be fine? And what ethnicity is she?
She's Viet.
She's Vit, and is
Yeah.
she very traditional as well too?
Extremely, yes.
Okay.
Religious, everything.
Got it. Okay, so you have a safety net. Okay, Kristine, how about yourself?
Can you repeat the question?
Oh,
There were so many like different answers, so I was like, I want to answer the right question.
we were talking about submissiveness, and I think we were talking about I think we initially asked what was the value that a woman had to give to the man, right? To that, so that he would be 100% committed to her, like, because we talked about love and respect and that type of stuff. So what do you think, besides the sex, that would be what you would have to do to give?
I think like men really look for loyalty. They like, because that falls under respect and like the the access that you give to your partner, being loyal to that one person and being able to to be there for them. I think that's something that's that kind of just goes hand in hand with it.
Okay.
I feel like being exclusive, it's a turn on because it's something, because it promotes you to be like that person for them.
That's sexual exclusivity, right? And then we also asked, are most men leaders? Do you think
In today's society?
Yeah, just in general. Do you think most men are leaders?
To me, like I guess like now, if we're doing like modern society, I think right now, yes, just because with like social media and like a lot of the men that I see now on social media are all about doing like entrepreneurship, like whether it be like being a realtor. Like there's so many like ways that like the men that I see now in today's society, they're like really trying to put themselves out there. However, back then, like during my time before I met my husband, definitely not. Just because
So you think there's more leaders today? There's more opportunity.
Back then.
I feel like there's more access to being a leader today but I guess it just goes back towards like if that man has the ambition to do that. So I guess I'd still say no, that there's not as much.
Would you say that you put a lot of the leadership title on the financial capability of a man?
No, I don't just like, I mean, leadership wise comes in so many aspects. I know like when you think of leadership, you think of a man who's financially stable is like the one thing that like, you know, everybody, I feel like it's just a personal opinion that I feel like when you see a man that's, you know, out there, like, you know, that's being a leader, they're financially stable, they have, you know,
but wouldn't you say your own action dictates that quote that I just said, that conclusion I just said, which is, right, you said that men today have more options to become a leader because of financial opportunities, right? Different ways to make money. Then you yourself says you are the leader in your relationship because currently you make more money than your man. And then you said if your man with this 5-year goal will eventually become the higher value financial man that he will become, he can become the leader. So it seems like you put a lot of leadership role into that financial capability.
I mean, because at this end of the day, you know, like you have to provide for your family. So I guess like I'll retract my statement if, you know, so that it's not contradicting. I don't want to give the wrong message to that. But I guess like it is financial stability because that's something that, you know, it's one of the core values that you have to have in your marriage because it's like a triangle, you know what I mean? Like it just goes down the ladder. It's a domino effect.
Okay. I'm going to ask both the ladies because you... Okay. Wait, what's the comment?
So this was a comment back when Kristine asked to repeat the comment.
Yeah.
Or sorry, repeat the question. And it was going off what Joseph or what Kean just answered because you asked him.
Yeah.
And a man that makes 120K asks for submissiveness from a woman.
From a modern woman. So what's the comment?
Oh no, that was the question.
Yeah, so we kind of he said his girl can. But I'll get into a stat after I get, you know, finished with Kristine's topic, right? Because the reason why I'm going to ask you two of you guys is because you guys are, you know, you're younger, you know, your mom. It is what it is,
Yeah.
right? And you're looking for different things, right? And obviously you're looking for different things, right? When you were younger, were you looking for other things more than just the finances?
Yes. I wanted someone who could, ambition was just very important to me because that's how I grew up. I always had the best father figure, someone who worked hard, aside from finances, someone who worked hard, someone who came home, was, you know, presence, like being there for the family and stuff like that. But aside from that, like generally thinking about how I was back then when I was younger, I wanted someone to be financially stable because I myself was independent at a very young age and I was able to provide for myself at a very young age.
Did your father and mom taught you to be independent?
Yes. My parents did not lack in making sure that I was, you know, the common well-rounded woman there because I grew up in a very strict religious household too. So my parents were like, my mother was very adamant on like, find a man who will respect you, who'll provide for you, who'll be there for your family, and also who'll be like, you know, that pillar for you.
Your mom and dad still together?
Yes, they are. They have been married for almost 50 years.
50 years. And then did your mom and your dad, or your mom specifically, or your dad, did they teach you traditional female values? Who taught you the cooking and the cleaning and that type of stuff?
Weird enough, my dad.
Your dad. Okay. And then did he tell you at all, like, you know, hey, this is the things that you need to look out for men, and what were some of those things that he told you to look out for in a man?
My dad is a man of less words. My dad is very quiet, you know. Okay. It was more so my mom who taught me what to look for in an ideal man when I grew up, right? My mom just really wanted someone who can, you know, she would tell me to look to the future, where look for a man who will provide for you, so financially, provide for your family, be able to sustain you, you know, be respectful to you, and also, you know, the ideal man is, you know, she wanted them to be religious also and be Catholic, and, you know, because that's how I grew up.
Okay. Is your mom and dad 50-50 as well? Was your dad a high earner, your mom the high earner, or was they both?
To be honest, I don't really know. I know my mom is like.
Would that by default, if you didn't really know, wouldn't that by default show you that they're kind of 50-50?
I would think so. I mean, because my mom, when my dad immigrated here from the Philippines, my dad was very, didn't really speak fluent English, or anything like that. My mom was usually the front of our family,
So
like,
she was
our
the
head of
the
household. So my mom really took on that role with finances and everything like that, while my dad oversaw and just, kind of backed off of that. So
So
a little different in the situation that we're talking about.
no. It's not more different than you think, because I think a lot of our Asian and brothers were raised in a very similar household, right? So my question to you then is, if you come from a very stereotypical Asian household,
I do.
mom and dad together, this is a very stereotypical immigrant household, right?
Yes.
A lot of us are just average. A lot of us don't come from families. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, my family became well-to-do. Maybe some of you here, your guys' family became well-to-do. But for the most part, the mom and the dad helped each other. They worked.
Yes.
They were very 50-50, but not in the modern context of 50-50. They're in a very traditional context of, hey, doing this for the betterment of the family, right? Duty, right? Duty, obligation over your own personal happiness, right? So my question to you then is, if all that stuff was in place, right? Your mom and your dad was there to show you the ropes, taught you how to be not only independent, and we'll get into that in a bit, but also be a traditional woman. Why did the first marriage didn't work out?
He cheated on me multiple times.
What ethnicity?
He was Hispanic.
Hispanic.
My
Was
panic.
was he religious as well too?
No.
So why did you go against all the different things that your mom and dad kind of told you to look out for?
The generic answer, to be honest, I'll get a little more personal with I am actually also adopted, but I grew up with my family, which they are my family. That's who I.
At what age?
I was adopted at birth. My my biological mother left me.
Okay.
But anyway, I think for me, it was the thrill of the chase. He was older. He felt more stable financially. Like, not like that much older. I was 19 and he was like 24 or whatever. So, I'm young and I'm dumb, and I'm pretty much, that's just literally what it comes down to. Like, I didn't, like, whether I grew up with all those values, I just didn't know any better. I think I got played, like, plain and simple. Like, he showed that, he was responsible. Like, he financially was like, when we would go out, I never had to worry about anything. And I was like, oh, I guess this is what that felt like. That was also my first real relationship. So, and I was young and I had just joined the Army. I was in a whole new state.
So he was in the military too?
He was in the Navy, but he had just got out while I was freshly in.
Okay.
So.
Was he a fairly high earner?
Huh?
Was he a fairly high earner?
No. I guess, like.
Was he?
I think I would say he's average.
In this case, it's not a chatter tyrant. Was he a Sergio?
No.
So he wasn't a good-looking, tall.
He wasn't tall at all. He was the average, Hispanic guy. He was like 5'8".
He had game though.
Definitely.
Yeah,
You know what? I'm just gonna be real. Like, he knew he was a talker. He was in sales. He was. Yeah, pretty much.
But so, how long did you guys date before he proposed to you?
A year.
A year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
it wasn't in a rush thing for sure.
a year is not in a rush, but it's fairly fast.
It was
as well,
fairly
too.
fast. I was really young, and of course, I was like, "Oh my god,"
And your mom and dad didn't give you any warnings?
So, my mom didn't like the way, none of my family actually attended my wedding. I had my wedding in Hawaii on the beach, and not everybody came because, to be honest, when we got married, we told them we were getting married, but it was also quick. Like, it was in a month or two from when we from when we got engaged, because also I was deploying, so it was we did it faster than most, so my family wasn't actually able to be present at the time. So I know my mom hated that, because she told me, she's like, that's not traditional, you need to go to a church, all that pressure, instead of being just happy. Oh my god, sorry, I needed a break. Getting the blessings and going through the traditional route of that, I got a lot of backlash. It was more backlash for a while before it was support.
Yeah.
So, they'll break it at that.
Okay. And was he a player before? Did you knew he was a player? Did you know he was trying to get with
I did not, but I'm not proud of it. Before we got married, it was a couple of days before we got married, a girl messaged me on Instagram and said that I'm dating your fiance, and I didn't believe it because I was young and naive, and I just, I was in love with, I think it was just one of those moments where I was in love with being in love, with the fact of being in love. I felt like I was just so blocked off because I was treated so well. I was, I was taken care of. I was, I at that time in my life, I thought I was genuinely happy. I feel like it was just a lot of manipulation and a lot of just, oh, this is what is good for me, right? And I disregarded that whole Instagram thing, and oh yes, please, thank you. I still got married, and then a couple of months later, that same girl messaged again, yada yada, and I was like, okay. And then eventually he admitted to the cheating because I finally caught him talking to that same girl. Like,
so during when he married you, right? Did he pay for the wedding? Did he do that, or who paid for the wedding?
Both of us.
So both of you guys paid. And then did he buy you a house? Did you guys get into a house? Or
Yes, we got into a house, but the house was me. It's just because I was in the military. I know.
I'm sorry
I
to
know.
say.
Okay.
But I think it was just because, like, financially wise, I didn't have anyone else to support but myself at the time, so I really like saved up, and I didn't, and I was taught to, like, in our family to save, and that was the thing.
Yeah.
So we did get a house. We got the house together. However, I was primarily on it.
Yeah. And did he at least pay for the rent or
He
pay
paid
for the mortgage?
He paid for the mortgage.
Okay, so he paid for the
He
mortgage.
paid for the mortgage, but it was just,
Did he pay for all the other bills too? Groceries, living
I
expenses?
did that. So when it came to, like, living, like, the house stuff, like, I took care of that. Whether it was, like, from our joint account or to our separate or whatever it was, I took care of the house stuff because
Okay.
that was it.
Got
I that was the role that I thought that I was supposed to play.
Got it. So now I know.
You
Now,
didn't know.
no. So now I get the big picture. So this is I'm going to ask you a question because this is very relatable to our Asian community, because our Asian community has been doing this for a while now. I'm Gen Xers, so I'm old guys. My wife and I were in that generation, right? So it's been going on now for, I would say, the last good 4 or 5 decades, right? Do you think, and I know you were adopted, but you still grew up in a very traditional
Yes.
household, just like I would say your growing up was very similar to a lot of our Asian brothers and sisters. And as a daughter, as a woman, growing up in an traditional Asian household, do you think their teaching of you being independent hurt you and possibly led you to this outcome of your first marriage?
Well, you know what? I never really thought about it like that. But I do agree that, like, your upbringing does affect how you become as a person and how you develop. I think that kind of probably was my downfall, because when I got married, I lost a lot of my independency because I submitted to, this man that
The
I thought that
wrong man.
was going to take
Yeah.
care of me, was going to, going to be my back, because the traits that I was taught to look for, and I thought that was it. So I feel like
But you didn't actually look for it though.
I didn't. It kind of just
Right? Because he
yeah.
wasn't a high earner. He wasn't a Sergio.
She got played.
I
So
think the
did-
qualities that I
Did
thought.
your dad or your mom ever vet this person for you? Like, did he ever come to your house, picked you up for a date, and did the dad ever sat him down and be like, hey, dude, what is
No.
your intentions with my daughter? What do you do for a living?
No, it was-
Why are you out of shape? Why are you only 5'8"? If a robber comes in the house, are you strapped? Do you know how to use guns?
No. However, my brother did.
So your brother did.
Like I said, like, my dad doesn't really talk a lot. Like, my dad, he talks, but very minimal. It was usually my mom who did, like, a lot of the vetting, where he would talk. She asked him, like, oh, like, what are, like, she did ask the normal, like, what are your intentions? Are you serious? Can you provide for your family? Like, when you guys have kids, like, the typical, like, 50-year plan.
And what was his answers to her? Because obviously, I'm not saying, did your mom give the approval for the marriage? Or not
No,
really?
Not really.
So did she voice that concern to you? She said, hey, Kristine, this guy is not the right guy. Don't marry him.
She did.
But you did listen
I
to her.
didn't listen.
Would you
I was young. And
would you have
Yeah.
listened to your dad if he had told you that?
Yes. I am a daddy's
Okay.
girl by
Okay.
by nature.
Okay.
I really didn't. Like, my dad is the kind of guy, like, yes, he was strict growing up, mostly on the boys in our family, and I'm also the youngest, so I'll put that. I think that plays a role too.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if my dad probably would have had stepped up and told me,
Yeah.
hey, don't do it, like, that's not, for you, it'll be better, I feel like I probably would have listened more, because I grew up very, like, rebellious towards my mom, just because my mom is, like, she had to be that foundation, the backbone, like, so I felt like what she would tell me, like, even if it was good for me, it was more nagging. That's what I was feeling, instead of, being supportive, I guess, or like
Understood.
trying to figure that out for myself.
Okay. So I'm going to ask the rest of the panel. And Lynn, you can answer too, although I know you grew up with your grandparents in essence, right? Does your household have a very similar upbringing? Do you have sisters in your household?
Just a brother.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay. But growing up, was your dad very similar to Kristine's dad, where he's more of the quiet one and the mom is more of the vocal one?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So my dad's very quiet. My mom's, the voice of the house, but he is the provider for the home. When he comes home, he doesn't talk about work. He brings in the money. We're taken care of. My mom's the one that provides for me and my brother and gives us the values and what to do as a man, right?
So your mom taught you how to be a man.
Yeah.
Okay, so she told you the values.
Yep.
Was she helpful?
Very helpful. Very helpful.
So she told you to look for
Yeah.
what to become.
Yep.
So what are some of the pragmatic things she told you to become to help you with your values?
I think to resemble my father, to be financially free, to be respectful, to be that 100% man. I know it's very, very vague. It's been a while since she actually.
But he's not very vocal though.
He's not very vocal, but he speaks. His actions speak louder than his words. Yeah.
Okay,
So-
and then what type of woman did she tell you to look for or look out for?
She didn't tell me who. I respect my mom a lot. I respect both my parents a lot. So the woman that I'm looking for resembles my
So
mom.
would you say that your mom and dad, in a very traditional way, just led by example?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Joseph, how about yourself?
Could you repeat one more time?
So growing up, did you grow up with your mom and dad?
Yes.
Okay, and did you grow up in a very kind of similar situation as Kristine and Tai, where the mom was more of the vocal head of the household, the dad was kind of the quiet provider?
I'd like to think that my family is very much an exception. The brother she was talking about was my father,
Okay.
and so both of them had a lot to say about just my childhood, or just shaping who I am today.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to say both of them shaped me to who I am.
Who was more of the head of the household?
They most of the time, I think they're both. They're
Were-
both there.
Were they 50-50 as
They
well
were
too?
50-50.
So your dad wasn't like the clear leader. They made decisions together. They would kind of talk about it and then make the decision.
Yeah, there'd be times where it'd be my dad making decisions. There'd be times it'd be my mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so who told you about how to be a man?
Both of them, I'd say.
Both. And so what values did
Yeah.
they tell you to
So-
become?
Yeah, for my dad to be someone who can provide, right? Someone who can look to others as a pillar of support, and
He
very
said, "Go
similar-
find people to look for support." That's what
Or
he
no,
said.
you
Oh,
yourself
so
as
you
have
be
to
a person
provider.
that people can look up to
Yeah.
support. Okay.
Mother the same way, but to be more, I'd have to say is, look at the people around you, right? And you have to take a step back and think of your position, what in your place in things, and you have to be understanding, even if someone else doesn't have the same viewpoints as you, that type of thing.
Okay. So what did your mom or your dad tell you to look out for women?
Look out for women. Honestly, my mom was like, yeah, just don't date up until like later on. Yeah.
How later on? What age?
Oh no, it's just like, when you have a car, when you have money, you can provide. And my dad would tell me, he's like, you could talk to people just as long as you're not a father when you're a teen.
So mostly finances, and then just don't knock a girl up.
Yeah.
Got it. Lynn, how about yourself? Did your grandma or your foster grandpa, did they give you any advice in terms of what to look out for a man, and then how to be a woman, right?
I feel like for me, my advice from all of my family members is completely the opposite. It's like, don't rely on a man. You don't need no man. You could do it all on your own. Don't talk to
even though
guys.
your grandma had a man.
Yes, because my grandma technically didn't. She just kind of dealt with him. She's just kind of, yeah. And for me,
She said that you said that she respected him. The way that she's
due to financials, yes. She's a very low income, 3 kids, all of them left her.
Is necessity out of necessity really respect?
At that point, no.
Okay, all right.
It's a weird situation.
No, I think it's very straightforward.
For
She didn't
terms-
respect this man. She just needed his money.
She needs the money.
Yeah.
She had 3 kids plus me, so technically 4, all
Got
by
it.
herself. She's working full time all the time.
Yeah, she had to do what she had to do to
and
raise
she's
her.
like 78, and she's still working
Yeah.
till this day.
Before we get on to the Kean do you think women nowadays are like your grandma? Do you think women nowadays would stick it out, do what they need to do to
For
take care of their grandkids and their kids?
For
Stick
the
it
new
out for their
generations, I would say no. There's a lot of
Yeah.
weird dating life
Yeah, because
standards.
wouldn't you
and stuff.
say that your grandma probably put her happiness a little bit to the
She
side?
just threw it away? And I want to give it back to her one day. This is what I want to do. For like millennials and a lot of the Gen X is still traditional, but lots of the new Gen Zs and stuff is completely saturated dating life now.
So did she teach you anything at least? Because she told she said you don't need no damn man, so don't even look out for a man. In
My
that
whole
sense,
family
right?
is
Pretty much
just
said
that,
don't
yeah.
even look for a man, right? Did they teach you anything in terms of what to be as a woman, as a lady?
Just to be my own financial support, to be more independent. Not a single person in my family, not even my father that I finally connected with at 16, was like, you don't need no man, you could do it yourself. And he still is like that to this
Did
day.
they tell you that? Well, no, they didn't, because obviously they said they don't. There was no goal of trying to get it with a man. Right?
Yeah.
Do you want a man, even though you've been indoctrinated your whole life not to want or
Yes,
or need a
I
man?
do want
You still
one.
want?
It's something
Why?
I want.
Why?
Because it's something I didn't have as growing up with a family. I've lacked that as a person, and I want to learn to appreciate and have that respect and loyalty.
So would you say that ideology, that teaching, hurt you?
A lot, unfortunately. I have very high standards due to it, and I'm very picky, so a lot of my relationships fall out. That I've just learned to just do my own thing.
I gotta call you out on this now.
Of
I gotta
course.
call you out on this. Are you really picky though? If you chose men that weren't leaders, that weren't getting the respect from you, are you really picky?
It's very hard to explain. I feel like I rush into a lot of things, and I'm a hopeless romantic. That I disregard my standards and I put it to the side, just like my grandma does, because I grew up like that.
So
I have higher hopes.
You have
than-
standards,
than
but you
putting my
completely
standards-
ignore them
Yeah.
when the
Like
time comes.
they're just waving the red flag around, and I'm like, I'm colorblind. Run the red light.
What? Let's get a little deep. Obviously, I don't want to get into it unless you're open to it.
Of course.
What is the thing that kind of just makes you say, "Hey, I have these standards. No one taught me what to look out for, but I think I know what to look out for in a man, right? I have these things, right? What are some of those standards, if you don't mind saying?
I feel like it's changed in the last year because
What is your current now then?
I guess my standard. Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
I'm still
We're
young
looking at
enough.
the current.
You
Yeah.
guys are still young.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a man that can just provide and have that leadership and dominance that I lack, that where I can run into
Okay.
a pole and hit my forehead.
So even though, guys, this is a very good learning lesson for all our men and sisters out there and Asian brothers specifically. So even though your whole life you've been fed this feminist lie, I don't need no man, I'm a boss babe, independence, you still want these biological attractions that
Yeah,
a man
'cause-
has to become a protector and a provider.
I'm tired. I've worked so hard that I'm burning myself out faster
So-
than working harder.
So you're a good looking girl. You're
Thank
young. You don't have a kid, right?
No.
Okay. So
The dust
why
dog counts.
why are you attracting these men, you think? And why are you letting down your standards when you know what they should be? Why are you letting these standards down and selecting these men?
I don't know. Genuinely, I don't have an answer to that.
What attracts them to you? Like, what do you find attractive? Like if
They
someone comes up to you, says hi, what do you find them attractive?
they have that confidence, the ambitions. They show off like this facade.
Do they drive a nice car? They pull up in a nice car. Say, hey, what's going on? May I get your number?
It's personality that counts for me more than anything.
Okay.
Because I have the nice car, I have the money. That's usually how it goes.
But you're looking for protection and provision, though,
Correct.
right? So some of these things, I mean, are these guys in shape? Are they tall?
No.
Okay, are they like physically capable? Do they look like if some guy came up to you and stole your purse, would they be able to run after them and beat this dude up? I mean,
Or you're gonna be like the other one, like I'm an independent woman, I'll go get my purse. And
yeah, or it's like, hey, it's your turn. Go run after him yourself.
All of your questions are probably going to be a no.
Okay, so they don't have these.
They're
things.
all low standard, yeah.
Okay, and then there has to become a time, even if they fake the funk, right? Scammers, they freaking, wear a freaking gold fake rollie or freaking roll up in a freaking rented Lamborghini, right? At some point in time, you're going to find out I'm just living at my mom's basement or I'm just living in some apartment, right? Studio apartment with my freaking best friend. Why do you still
linger around.
choose? What is it
I don't
about 'em?
now, but in my last year, my recent relationship, that was my last. Now it's all high standard because I'm still young and dumb.
So you're currently in a relationship?
No, I'm not.
Okay, but the one.
No,
Okay, but you said someone recently had you recently dated somebody that had high standards, or no?
No, I haven't had a single high standard.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking to someone with high standard. It's completely different lifestyle, but
Okay, so now you're talking to somebody that has high standards. Okay, so before I move on to Kean, what is that one thing? I don't want to be lewd, but was it dick game?
no.
So they didn't even sexually satisfy.
Mm-mm.
Maybe think about it, and I'll come back to you on why. I'm still trying to figure out why you were attracted to these men.
Personality. That's the only answer I have. Is they showed confidence, because I'm a very intimidating person when you first talk to me. In terms, they all said, every person I
You
asked.
seem
they're
very
like-
sweet. I don't.
I don't get that intimidation.
Yeah, I don't get.
That- when they all-
For a few seconds.
Well, because they're all low standards, so when someone is such a higher standard than them, they feel intimidated.
But they had enough. They had enough
Confidence
to go talk to you.
to talk to me.
Do you get a lot of, let's say, maybe higher quality men hitting you up too? Do you get like a lot of guys that are maybe taller, more attractive, actually have the finances? Do you have these men in your DMs or hitting you up as
Recently, a few, yes.
But not
yeah.
before?
Not before, no.
Were you just not out there? Were you not on Instagram?
I wasn't really out there.
Okay, so all these guys were local guys that they kind of just
Yeah.
you knew from locality.
Yeah, like coworkers, friends of friends, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing.
Of
We'll do
course.
it there. So, Kean, right? Going back to the original question, was like, did you grow up in a very traditional household, or where, in this particular case, right, the mom was kind of the vocal leader, the dad was a quiet provider? Yeah.
It was kind of the same as Joseph's, really, because I grew up a single kid. I'm the only child, so I kind of I had to hear both sides. I had to hear my mom and my dad. My dad taught me how to like be a man properly. My mom taught me like the soft things, like how to like treat a girl, how to take them out, whatever. My dad always taught me like just be humble, always share what you have and what others don't have, because a lot of my cousins in the Philippines, they're like poor. Like my dad's helping my cousin pay for his tuition to go to college there. So yeah, that's.
So what values do your dad tell you to get to become obviously attractive to a woman?
What qualities my dad gave me, like
Did he give you some very hey, become a doctor, become a lawyer? Did he give you?
he kind of just says, he kind of just told me like, be humble about my money, and like how I hold myself up to other people. Like I don't want to act like any less to like say like some other people. Like if they have less than me, I still hold myself the same way. Or if someone like that has like more than me, I still hold myself the same way. It's like.
Did you have a sister, Joseph? I forgot to
I
ask.
do.
So one brother, you're the brother and a sister, or how many
No,
siblings?
I just have one sister.
Okay.
Younger.
So how did your mom and dad raise your sister?
Oh, it's funny because I was just talking to her just yesterday, and it's very different versus me.
Yeah.
Like, for example, for me, I can go down to Chicago in 8th grade by myself versus her.
Oh, yeah.
She's not able to really go out. Yeah.
What did they teach her to become independent? Like, go get a schooling, get a job, get a career. Do they teach her that too, though?
Yeah, they definitely taught her, make sure that you finish your education, find something that's worth your time, but also can provide for you and maybe a family in the future. But they're very hesitant whenever it comes to someone like, relationship. It's just like, you don't need that yet.
Okay.
That's
Do they teach her at least traditional female values like cooking, cleaning, being feminine, being submissive?
I think for sure it's just cleaning. I mean, it feels like for her, my sister, she looks out for those things anyways, in terms of being feminine, things like that. My mom definitely supports her for that. My dad and otherwise just make sure it's like,
So your mom teaches her some of that stuff, though?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so very traditional, still very in a good way, though. Got it. So you're single, you're only kid, right? What did their parents teach you to look for in a woman?
They didn't really tell me what to look for in a woman. I mean, I think the earliest moment I had was 6th grade. My mom kind of just let me explore, and then as I got older, I kind of I figured out on my own what I like and what I need. The term ADG is just
Yeah, so how did you find your current girlfriend? What were you looking for in your current girlfriend? And what did you do to attract her?
So I'm gonna be quite honest. She said I wasn't her type, so I was her type's the light skinned boys that play basketball. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to throw it out there, and I was just I'm hoping for the best right now.
But you're with her though, right?
Yeah.
So how did you shoot your shot?
I just kind of put my arm around her, and I was like, yeah, I think I like you.
And she said cool, and since then she
That was the first day.
she just kind of hang out with you. And this for how many months now?
9 months.
9 months. And you guys have been intimate in that time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what are you doing to commit to her?
To commit to her, I'm loyal. I give her my respect. I work hard for my goals, so then that she has future plans for us. I also have future plans, so I was just...
What's her plans for you guys? Has she expressed that to you?
Yeah, a family, in the future. But her parents are really, really traditional, Viet parents are. They just, they want her to, be a nurse, be a doctor, and for the future, just get married and stuff, have a family. I see that ahead in my future. Kind of running in a dead end.
What do you think the time frame on something like that is?
I mean, late 20s, early 30s.
Late 20s, early 30s. Okay, so about 7, because you're 21 right now. So about 7 to 8 years. Okay, and then you're currently going to school. You're gonna make 120K hopefully by the time that's all said and done. So currently, right now, you have the ambition. You're not there yet financially.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I got I got steady income right now. I do have a drop shipping business that brings in 10K a month at least.
And did you guys meet each other through social circles, friends of friends?
I met her on Hinge.
Okay.
Dating app.
Dating app. Okay, gotcha. And but was it within a region at least though, right?
Yeah, it was west, it's Seattle area.
Okay,
yeah.
got it. So it's a complete stranger. You didn't know anything about her family, life, or anything like that.
No.
And so you went on a date with her, and then you just you wrapped your arms around her, says, "Hey, I like you." And
I took her out to sushi, grabbed some boba, and then took her to a viewpoint.
And what date was this? What number date was this?
It was the first date.
First date.
I was really bold on the first date. I was just
so okay. So then she committed to you on the dang first date.
I got that Riz.
All right. Hey.
See, there you go. The Asian brother got the Riz. Okay.
The Wizard of Oz.
Do you think you're maybe doing a poor decision by committing to the first person?
It's not my first person.
Okay.
It's been... I went through my phases of what I like, what I don't like, what I see in a girl.
So how many prior relationships you had before this one?
2.
So 2. And were they long term or short term?
The first one, it was kind of, it was not it.
Okay.
The second one, I dated her for 2 years. I thought I had the world at my feet, and I was just like, all right. And then like she broke up with me over text, and I was like, all right, fuck it, whatever. I don't care.
Okay.
I'm just gonna.
Did you break up with the first one, or she broke up with you?
I broke up with her.
Okay, so what was about her that you broke up on the first one?
She kept talking about her exes and like
Oh,
how she wanted that, and then
Damn.
that was when I lost my virginity, but it wasn't in a consensual way. I kind of, just it's not good.
Wait. Are you trying to say that she
Yeah,
e-parred you?
she forcefully. got
But
on
you
top
didn't
of-
say no.
I was kind of just in the moment. I was, what do I do? I was a junior in high school. I didn't know what to think. I was kind of just.
This is when we would usually go to a cutaway scene. There needs to be consent here. Now, what age were you at that time?
I think I was like 17.
Oh man, it's okay. Well, so anyways, okay, so that happened, but she was obviously a promiscuous woman. Yeah. Okay.
Out there.
Second one, she broke up with you.
Yeah.
What was the reason for her breaking up with you?
I was I was under leveled. I didn't have the qualities that I guess she wanted, and then
And that one was a long-term
it
relationship.
was like 2 years. Yeah,
Because you thought you had it.
I thought I had it.
Okay. And what was it about her that you thought was the it?
I guess her it factor was kind of just like she had money goals, but I guess like in the grand scheme of things, like early like I just got to 19 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what like actual goals were, like being a freshman in college, you know.
Okay. And so did she ever express, like, hey, like, what are we? When are you going to actually, provide for me? And was that what happened? And
Oh
You
no,
ju-
she kind of
so she never expressed it
no,
to
she
you.
just laid out flat. It was just like I never really wanted a boyfriend in college, you know. I kept you around. I was like, well, okay.
Were you doing anything to at least try to keep her around though? I mean, did you show that you were going to get to that phase?
No, because I kind of like I noticed it early on. I was like, all right, she's already checked out. There's no point in like saving it, so I let it ride it out.
Okay, so you didn't even want to do anything to keep her. Got it. So at that point, it was done.
After I noticed the signs, I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna.
What were the signs? That's what I'm saying.
It's like mentally checked out, not giving like the appreciation, respect I deserved, and it was kind of more just it was like me being one sided. I was just kind of like kept giving, and I was like, all right,
Giving what though? Like attention?
yeah, like puppy love stuff, like attention, just
But we kind of talked about it earlier because, like I said, I got to hold the man accountable too, right?
yeah.
Right. You give a woman attention, right? But do you think that's really what she 100% wants from you?
Definitely not.
So
I
well-
think she was kind of just looking for like the money. That's
Yeah, but you're 19.
I know. It's
You're 19.
You know,
she came from like
but
rich family.
but he's 21 now.
Yeah.
He hasn't changed that financially different from when he was 19. So what is the difference from now versus 19? It's only 2 years ago. It's not like you're balling now, making 120K now.
I mean, I'm just barely. I take care of myself financially. I mean, I guess the only thing that changed is I just give good dick. That's
Now?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be quite real.
Got
I
it.
mean,
hey, we got to talk about these things because there's always a very pragmatic reason why people are together, and we talk about all this bullshit like I said, commitment, freaking love, respect, but there's very clear things that we need to do to keep a relationship together. So it's very educational, not only to us discussing it as Asian brothers and sisters, but also obviously to all our viewers out there, especially to a lot of Asian men, because like I told you guys, Asian men are struggling finding sex, finding relationship right now, right? And so any advice that we can give them and any experience that we can give them to, because a lot of them, I guarantee you, go through the same situations that we go through, same upbringing, right? Same freaking teachings, right? So would you say that because your parents weren't really involved into helping you find, be a man, how to be a man, and it seems like your dads weren't really talking about it, did you guys think it hurt your guys' ability to try to attract a woman? Just yes or no.
I guess yeah.
Yeah.
I was,
What about yourself, Josie? You think the way you were taught to be, and because your dad wasn't really, a vocal leader in the household, do you think that hurt your chances to attract women?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you still think you have a good shot
Yeah.
to attract a woman?
Mhm.
Even though earlier you said that it's a 50-50 that you would offer a woman.
Could you repeat again?
Well, earlier you said that when you would approach a girl, what you would want from them and what you would commit to them, you would tell them that you wanted this 50-50 situation, right? Where like, hey, I got ambition, babe. I'm going to be this king. I'm going to get this castle for you. I'm going to become this high value man for you, but I'm not here yet. I'm just starting on my path, and I'm on this path to do it. And I want somebody to jump on with me now and build this 50-50 with you. Is that something your parents taught you, or is that something that you just found out?
I feel like it's something that I was taught, but I don't think it's something that I would just bring to the table, right?
But pragmatically, though, that is what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but I guess another aspect of the thing is like, do I really want a relationship right now?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So you understand where you're at right now. You're saying, hey, I don't want that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Would a huge predicate on you finally wanting the relationship is when you become financially more capable?
If I were to say, I'd probably say yes. But I also think that it comes down to where do I see myself in, like, I put myself in different perspectives. Where do I see myself in 2 weeks? Where do I see myself 5 years, 10 years?
Well, let's say 5 years, because
Yeah.
you're still young, right? Most men don't hit their stride until they're like 35, most 40 years old, right? So, but once again, would you put a lot of that capability on the finances?
I think I'd say so, yes.
Okay. Ty, how about yourself? Did your dad, not being that vocal but more of a quiet leader, did you think that hurt?
I don't think it hurt. I think for me, I'm gonna elaborate. I had another father figure or another mentor. I'd say uncle, right? I grew up very feminine. I got a lot of traits from my mom, crybaby, mama's boy. But when I learned to be with a mentor that was really tough, really, really tough, training, working out, tennis, having that foundation, to see it, two different sides to what a man could be.
Was this an uncle, a best friend?
It was like a family friend. So my mom's like, I think it would be good for you and your brother to go out with train with him. Initially, it's about.
So your mom saw this weakness in you and said,
I wouldn't say weakness. I think.
She wants to toughen it.
I wouldn't even say that. I would say, I want you to learn Vietnamese. To be, hey, if you want to play tennis, play tennis. I think it was. She didn't even see it as face value. It's like, hey, this guy's weak. I didn't even see.
Have
that.
you ever asked your mom that? Just curious. Hey mom, why did you recommend Uncle, Chu and go? Why did you recommend him to?
She just said, I think it'd be good for you. I think he'd be tough. Obviously, I think she knew that my dad wasn't around, so I think she knew, right? She knew, like, I think you'll be good.
So looking back, you think your mom saw this weakness?
100%. No, we talk about this all the time.
Okay.
Like, she knew I was very sensitive. She knew I was this type of man, but that foundation for what she taught me made me self-aware, which I think is something that a lot of men don't have, is self-awareness, right? Whereas for me, it's like, yeah, my dad wasn't there for me, but am I gonna blame him for the problems I have right now? No, I'm gonna seek out my own. Thank God for my mentor, my uncle, my Joe, and he helped me a lot. But he didn't really tell
But you
me.
didn't seek out though.
Didn't seek out.
Your mom helped you seek
Right,
out this.
but
man.
I think there's phases to this, right? So when I would say 12 all the way to maybe 16, he was there for me, training very hard, very alpha male. Like, he was a man that, number one, he wasn't providing for the family. He was actually, his wife was providing. He was there at home taking care of the kids and disciplining us, right?
This mentor of yours.
This mentor, yeah. So he was there every single day teaching us, physicality, discipline. Yeah.
So he was teaching you. Let me get this straight. So he was teaching you masculine traits and values, even though he himself wasn't living it.
Even though he wasn't financially living it, he wasn't bringing in any money.
Well,
into
would
it.
you say? Well, not only the money aspect, but
Yeah.
wouldn't you say a man staying at home, raising the kids in that regard, right? Is that really a very masculine thing?
No, that's why I've taken both traits from my father, who's the breadwinner of the family, and then I still have the traits from my mentor, who's giving me a lot of the other characteristics to blend in.
Okay.
So I'm aware of that.
Would you say your mentor had a lot of game?
Oh yeah.
And that's
100%.
the reason kind of how he was able to get his wife?
Yeah.
And
I want to go back to leadership too.
Yeah.
Because he was leading his family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not financially, but his kids are doing well. Like, we're good friends to this day. Daughter's doing well. Everything
was
like that.
his wife, would you consider her, and I know this is a hotly debated topic in this sphere, right? When I say a high value woman, no one thinks there's a high value woman in this sphere. But do you think the wife that he had, this mentor here, do you think she was a high value woman?
I believe so.
And how so? What made her high value?
I would just say he stuck out with her. I mean, he was broke. He didn't make any money, and she still stuck out with him.
Was she good looking?
Yeah.
Good looking.
Yeah.
Was she feminine?
Feminine.
Loyal.
Yes. Loyal. Yeah. Got
Do
all
you
the
think
traits.
there are women like that nowadays?
There's gems.
You believe that
I would say, I believe that there
in the
wasn't-
Western society. You think there's
Well, funny story is, I went to my dentist's office, and I'm like, man, it's gonna be so hard to find a wife or a girl who has these traits.
yeah.
Funny enough, the dental assistant was very feminine, had the qualities I want. I'm like, I think there's gonna be some girls out there.
Okay. The only reason why I kind of pushed back on that, because we kind of went off on a tangent, right? Because I want to go back to this whole parenting thing, because I think it really relates to our Asian brothers and sisters, is if your mentor wasn't high value himself, at least in the financial aspect, was he a good looking dude, tall?
Yeah.
So he had the physical capabilities, right?
He wasn't tall. He was 5'5", 5'6", yeah.
But he had the physical qualities
Yeah.
and he had game, right?
He was masculine. He taught me a lot of masculine.
Yeah, and so he
attributes.
definitely had the persona to pull it off, but he
Right.
didn't have the financial capabilities. And he was able to get leadership from this woman, right? Do you think you being kind of in a way opposite of him, right? Because you have your Riz, you're a good-looking cat, you're gonna have finances, right? You're gonna have your status, and you have game too. You know, you speak very well, right? You think a woman like that would submit to you?
To this day,
And would you want a woman? See, this is the other thing
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
because it's a very contradictory situation that I'm referring to. Would you want a woman to work and provide and bring home finances for you?
no.
So that's not the woman then,
Mhm.
right? That's not the woman. She's
Yeah.
not the woman for you, even though she submitted to your mentor, who was
Yeah.
this masculine guy.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm learning from both sides of the coin. It's like, hey, I have my own father who has these attributes I want from him, and I'm also taking the attributes from my mentor that has given me the foundation as a man. I'm not, in terms of his relationship, I don't look at him in terms of relationship, like, at all.
Okay.
But in terms of a masculine man, I got that leadership, I got that foundation of him. But everything I've also learned from, like, relationships, I'm learning from my parents, right? And I see that.
Do you think there are women nowadays like your mom?
Very rare. Very rare.
Okay, so we're talking about rarities here,
Mhm.
right? Your
Yeah.
mom is no longer rare,
Yeah.
right? Your mentor's wife situation is very rare.
Mm.
So what are the chances of you finding this?
Very low. But am I going to settle for someone who doesn't fit those standards? No.
Okay.
You know?
And what are you doing currently besides what you're doing right now to try to hopefully find that gem, that needle in the haystack?
Big part of it is networking. Networking with a lot of high value men that are successful and have access to other women. And those women I've already interacted with. You know, they're not my type, you know, they're not Asian, but they have the qualities of a woman that I want. Right? And
Would
then
you be willing to date or marry outside your race
No.
then?
No.
Okay, so you still want to find an Asian,
Yes.
but it doesn't have to be Vietnamese. It just
Doesn't
has
have to be
Just
Vietnamese.
has to be
Yeah.
Asian.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, doing so, being able to network as much as I can, like, okay, I like your trait. I go on dates. I'm like, oh, I'll be very straightforward. I'll probably friend zone them, right? But then they have access to other girls. I'm like, if she has this quality, her friends are probably have the same quality as you do, right?
So these girls that you're referring to, how do you know that they're high quality women? Especially
I
they
don't-
hang around with all these high value men.
Yeah. I mean, they don't challenge me. They don't challenge, like, you don't have to go through so many hoops to, like, please them. They like you for who you are. Like, oh, I like Tai. I don't have to work so hard to like please you. I'm like, so it's
Okay, I 100% disagree because you had to build yourself to this level of man to hang out with high value men, to be surrounded by these high quality women. To say that you didn't put in any work to get to this level, to get their attention or attraction, is 100% wrong. Right? And so I just wanted to say that. And
so let me reflect that. And when I'm talking about hoops, is like the headaches of like, oh, going through so many trials and tribulations to get that girl, right?
I get it, but you've already jumped the hoops, is what I'm trying to say.
So that's what I'm saying. So if I that's the vetting process. That's pretty much the vetting process. If I'm having to go through so many hoops, I'm like, this is it. I'm done with that.
No, I get that, but I think this is where it comes back to our comment earlier about how men so undervalue themselves. You've already made yourself. You had to do all this work to get to this level, to even get this attraction from these women. That's what I'm trying to say. Women stand at the finish line. They don't start with you, right?
Let me say it. Okay. For a woman, okay, that has like what man's looking for, right? If she's fit, she looks good, she takes care of herself. Okay, she's gonna be waiting in the finish line for a man to level up. So that man has to have finance. That man has to be, he has to be fit. Is he protection type, because when the woman is at a certain age and she's looking for protection, she's looking for security, she wants all that. It's a package deal. Yeah. It's not something like, oh, you didn't level up, you didn't reach your goal, that all these women are throwing at you. No, they're throwing themselves at you for a reason, because you already leveled yourself up. So that's the honest answer that I'm going to give to you gentlemen out there. Don't think that woman is just going to throw themselves at you. She's good looking, she's in shape. She needs that. She needs security. She needs you to be up there. It's not one thing that these women are just looking for. Finance is not the only thing these days. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you right now. You're fit. Okay, your hygiene, all that stuff, the way you carry yourself, the way you look, the way you dress. That is like the whole thing. Okay, she's not looking for just one thing. I mean, okay, let's take. Everybody knows Paul Allen, right? He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
He's got all that. He's got the caliber. He's got all that. But what does he not have? You guys can answer that, right? Right? His health, right? He didn't take care of himself. His hygiene is pretty bad. Okay, we all know that. Yeah. I know I used to work for Paul Allen. I used to work for him. I'm one of his receptionists.
Okay, we're going off
on
a tangent.
But I'm just letting you guys know, okay? It's a lot of things, and he does not have.
No, but my wife is talking about all the men's values that you need to build before a woman will even give you a chance. And what I'm trying to tell, Tai here, my Asian brother, who's built himself to a certain level, right? Put himself together, figured out that he was not the masculine man that he needed to be, too feminine, right? Needed to get his ass in shape, needed a network, needed to build freaking finance, right? Fit, finance, fame. Those are all things, right? Fit, finance. Your networking is your status, your fame, right? So my point is, don't undersell yourself.
Oh, 100%.
Because and I need my other Asian brothers and everyone here on the panel to understand is that you got to become to this certain level, right? Because that is the current dating market. If you don't even come to a certain level, most women, and especially high quality women, they're not going to even give you a shot. Right, and so you're not even going to get to that.
So I understand everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
I think you're misunderstanding the hoops I said. Yeah. The hoops is like, I don't know how to rephrase it.
It's social proof. No, I 100% get it.
Yeah.
You've acquired the social proof, so you don't have to go through the social proofs already. My argument is that you had to go through a lot to get that social proof. Right?
Yeah.
So what we need to understand is high quality women, but women in general have all these high standards, right? We've heard it from even our Asian sisters on this panel. Even though they've made some mistakes in their dating and their relationships in the past, they have these high standards that they're not going to give men even a chance if they don't have it. And men have to bring something to the table, even if, let's say, it didn't work out because these ladies, our sisters, found out later that these men were trash. They weren't actually high value men, but they had to bring something to the table, whether that was game, whether it was riz, whether that was social acuity. They had to bring something to attract that woman, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing you guys have to realize, my Asian brothers out there. You always have to become providing something.
Can I add one thing
Yes.
and piggyback? I think you need access to other guys that can actually show you, what a high value man is, right? So like the reason why maybe she's attracting all these other guys is because you're not in those circles where you're attracted,
Yeah, you're
and
not
just-
in the right networking socials. I mean, are you on Instagram? Are you on any of those type of apps as well too?
Yeah, I'm on all socials, but I mean, like I said, just until recently have I been actually surrounded by people with high
And something
value.
I want to say to the audience and for the Asian brothers is like money isn't everything. You need the network and the people that are around you to say, hey, keep you in check, keep you accountable, as well as show you exposure. Like if you're not exposed to it, you don't know if it exists, right? So for me, it's like I didn't believe there was a woman that was a gym.
So I'm going to ask you this because you
Right.
talked because I wanted to elaborate on that finance aspect, right?
Okay.
Because a lot of my Asian brothers on this panel, we put so much emphasis on finance. We did, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think the money that you need to make before a woman will be submissive to you?
Money to me is a moving finish line.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like if you're gonna make like the goal is like 120,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's always moving. So I don't really have a exact number. You know what I mean? If I'm financially stable, can pay off, the bills, I think, in my opinion,
What do you think that number is?
I would say, in my opinion, would be, at least 500,000.
500,000.
500,000.
Okay.
you
You
know.
said 120 because your girl's cool with that. Good for you.
Oh, I thought you meant like starting out, like right out the gate out of like.
No.
Oh.
What do you think that number would be? So I'll let you re-answer then. What is that number think that would, she would be submissive to you?
Realistically, probably it's 500K.
500K.
Half
Yeah.
a mil. Who doesn't want half a mil?
Okay. What about yourself? So this is a year, guys. 500K a year. What do you think about yourself, Joseph?
Yeah, I think the same way. I feel like, my financial goals is like 5 years from now, hopefully over 200K and more. But if anything, I'd probably say more than the average man for a submission. Yeah.
How many guys do you think earn over $250,000 a year? Let alone people in general, the whole women and women. I want everyone to answer this. What do you think? What's the percentage?
Less than 1%.
Less than 1%. What do you think?
Probably around like 10%.
10%.
Yeah.
Lynn, what do you think? How many men specifically earn over $250,000 a year?
Like 5%.
5%.
So like 3%.
3%.
I want to agree. I think it's like around 2%. to be
2%.
honest.
Honey, you know the stat?
It's probably almost less than 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's less than 1%.
Yeah.
The household income in the Western society, I believe it's the top 3% of earners makes $250,000 or more, and that's a household. So it's men, women,
Right.
everything, gay men, right?
Yeah.
So not suitable marriage men, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about the top echelon of men, right?
One
Okay.
more thing. Can I say one more
Yeah,
thing?
sure. Go
Is
ahead.
500,000 is just in my head. That's my goal that I want to hit.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to make more, but
Yeah.
I think for me and for most of the guys I surround myself with is if you have a purpose. Because if you have a purpose and you have a goal in mind, eventually the money's gonna come around, right?
Okay.
But if you're just focused solely on money, you're gonna be searching for it
Yeah.
a lot, right? So
Okay.
and that's my opinion. Because when I first started, let's say my business, I was searching. Hey, I want to make a quick buck, $5,000 to $10,000 in 9 days with coaching. I'm like, okay, cool, great, this is great. But that didn't work out. Once I started focusing on Asian men, because that's what I'm really passionate about, and sharing my story and sharing what I do, that's when the money came in. I'm like, okay, wow. If you have a purpose, eventually you can make money.
Fair enough. What's the comment before we get to? Go ahead.
This is from Gabriel.
Yep.
It says first, he's like Ty, what Ty was saying, keep it black and white, high standards, stay fit, and a blue suit.
Mhm.
And his question,
Thank you.
Ty, was why didn't you ask the dental assistant out?
I have many times. I asked her 3 times on Instagram.
But she turned you down.
She didn't turn me. Well, I would say turn me down. She, I'll let let me see what my schedule looks like. I mean, she DM'd me. I gave her my number, and she found my Instagram. Like, oh wow,
Is she Asian?
she's Asian, Vietnamese. Moved here from when she was like 6 years ago from Vietnam. You know, I'm like, okay, wow, she's attracted. She's liking my stuff, liking my stories, commenting. I'm like, why aren't we going on a date? But that's not stopping me from finding other options.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm not gonna be settling for one person. Like, what am I gonna do? Gonna go visit her at the dental office and give her flowers and coffee? You know
And
what I mean?
would that make you more attractive to her or less attractive to her?
It would make me more desperate, less attractive.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
you know, so to go back to what I'm doing in terms of dating is expanding my network, having social proof. You know, women. I'm working out with women. I'm networking with women. You know, nothing sexual or romantic, but it shows that, hey, I actually have a social life. My life is cool, and I'm actually doing something with it.
Ladies, I wanted you guys to answer the question. What would that amount be, or do you agree with the men that if your man made $500,000 a year, would you be submissive to him? Or what would that number be?
I mean, if we're talking about 500,000, yeah, I would.
Would it be a lesser number, or
I mean,
500,000 sound about right?
I mean, you gotta think realistically too, though. Like, you know, like you said, like the general population doesn't even make that much just alone, unless you know you're well connected and well off, right? So to be honest, I mean, like, you know, making well over 6 figures now is more than enough to me, because like I want to be a little more realistic, just because like money, like I get it, money is great and being financially stable, but you know, who wouldn't want someone to make 500K, you know?
So what would the number to be for you to fully just let go? Like, you know, your man takes the reins, you know, he's fully, whatever he demands.
Like for me to just drop everything
So
and
be
just
submissive, yeah.
Oh, like
What would that number be?
I
He's watching, by the way.
know. He is watching, to be honest. I guess like, you know, 200,000.
200,000. And do you know who the percentage of men that make over 200,000?
Probably like less than 2%.
It's better, but well, for men, yes, you're right. For men, households, I think it's like less than 5%. They make over 2. So if you take just the men, probably less than.
I'm just giving this as a hint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, say your demands now, right? Lynn, how about yourself? What would that number be, or is there a number that would make you submissive?
Yeah, I'd say realistically it'd be 200,000. Yeah.
And does the ethnicity of man matter? I mean, obviously you're married to your husband that's Filipino already, right? But so it's fine that he's Asian and that is tuna.
The funny thing is, I didn't want to date an Asian man. He's my first.
Okay. Did you date other ethnicities?
I did. Because generally, like the community that I grew in was mostly populated by Hispanics. The Asian community where I grew up, you know, wasn't really like, you know, big at all whatsoever. It was mostly like Hispanics and Caucasian men, you know. So I guess generally that's what I was attracted to. But as I got older, it's nice to have someone that shares your culture, and that's really important to me. It's like I don't want to sit here and make like chicken adobo, and this guy's like, hey, what is this? This is gross.
Were you initially attracted to him because he was Filipino, or you just kind of found this after the fact that
he's attracted? He was handsome. He looked good, so it just happened that he was Filipino too, which is a plus. So
does he look stereotypically Filipino too as well, or?
I guess I would say so, sort of. Okay, no, I don't know.
What does he look more like?
I don't know.
Hispanic or?
It kind of looks like.
To me, he looked Filipino. Okay, in retrospect, you didn't meet him when I met him, so you know he had the typical like Filipino haircut, like you know, just looked Filipino. I mean, you know. Not that far, but he was also well kept, and like the hygiene, like I like when a man presents himself like when you're neat and you're presentable, you know, like you're well shaved, you got a nice haircut, but us also because we were both in the military, so
Got it. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna ask the next question, right? So you guys said 50-50. Some of you guys believe it, some of you not. And the ones that didn't believe it, at least you guys said, hey, you know, you need to bring a certain value in this to another, right? So in the relationship, okay, and we'll start this time because I started with Ty last time, so I'll start over here. And with my wife. Yes, I'm going to let you answer as well, too, honey. So in a relationship, who is the prize? The man or the woman?
Shoot, I'm better than I am the prize.
Okay, so one for the woman. Okay, in the relationship, who is the prize?
I agree. I think it's the woman.
The woman. Okay, so 2.
I'm gonna say it's the woman.
So 3.
It's the woman.
The woman's the prize. 4. Okay.
Yeah, the woman.
5.
I say the man.
So we got 1 for the man. Okay, why? Why are you against the norm?
I mean, you put so much work in yourself. Why are you gonna put one? I mean, if your purpose is higher than anything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
That should be number 1. And as a leader, she's gonna follow you along that path and along that relationship.
Okay.
Okay. Question for him, though.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I know how you talked about like, how women are at the finish line. We value, your hard work, and you're at your peak, right? You're at your prime. Like you've got everything stable, and we're waiting at the finish line. So it's just kind of like a counter question. How can you say that the man is the prize when like you pretty much did all that work, not just for yourself, but to find a woman who, add to that value? It's like, because women are like, oh, I want a man who already worked for that, who put all the value. So it's like, how do you find yourself more valuable when at the end, like, you're trying to impress these women too with how hard you worked? It's just a question.
No, I like this. I like this because the work doesn't stop when you find a woman, right? If my higher purpose is to help all the guys in my community become the best version of themselves, like yes, I can find all the women for myself, but can I help my other Asian brothers do that for themselves? Can I help my other sisters find like-minded men as well? That's my purpose, And if she can support me on that, great. Like, why would a woman want to have a guy who's always like on her ass, like, hey, like we need to be together 24/7? No, she's gonna respect you if you're working on your purpose. You know what I mean? And so
We'll get to the bottom of this.
Okay.
That was the reason why I brought up this whole conversation, because we're going to get to the bottom of this on who's the prize and what is actually the prize. Okay, so let's all agree for one time, for this moment, even though Tai disagrees, right? That we'll all agree at one moment that the woman is the prize, right? Would you guys all agree that if you are the prize, right? And we all agree that women are the prize, that men have to compete for this prize? Raise your hand. So we all agree that men have to compete for this prize, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be a prize. Everybody would get it. No one would have to earn it. Would you guys agree that men have to compete for the prize?
yeah.
Yes.
Right. So everyone agrees that men would have to. You have to compete for this prize, right? And ladies, this is the ladies' questions, right? What is your value as the prize? Are you a high value prize, an average value prize, or a low value prize?
Well, depending what kind of woman you are. If you're young, do you keep?
Just in general, what do you think most women will say that their value is as the prize? If they all believe that they're the prize.
What do you think? Our sexual access.
So do you think it's a high value prize, a low value prize, or an average?
It should be a high value prize
High value
because you're keeping it just for that person. And that's why I said we are the prize. Because that's why we said we are the prize. Because from what I've taught when I was a younger person, this is what my dad is teaching us. You are valuable to that man if you keep your low self body count, right? You are valuable to that man because you're only committed to that man. Your eyes aren't wandering or anything else. So that's why he always taught me that I am the prize. I am valuable to that man. I'm not saying to every man because he's only saying my focus is only on that man that I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life, that man that I value, the man who is the core of my pillar. And that's how we were taught, because I have other, sisters. So that's why I'm saying I am
So
the
you're a
prize.
high value prize. Okay.
There you go.
Kristine, how about yourself?
I definitely agree with that. I believe like I'm a high value prize because I was taught to bring that quality as a woman, like to hold yourself up to a standard, to work hard, to apply these values that you were taught, by my dad. My dad was like, and my mom was like, you're this person, you are, your body, your personality, who you are is sacred. That in the, you're only allowing, limited to that one person to access who you are and, as a whole. So I feel like, for me, I think that I am a high prize because that's how I was taught and that's how I've presented myself.
Okay. So that's not really disagreeing what she said, though, right?
It's not, I'm agree. I said I agree.
Yeah, agree. Okay, yeah. So you agree. So you're a
Yeah,
high value
I
prize as well.
agree.
Okay. Lynn, how about yourself?
I agree. I mean, you worked yourself that far, and as a person personally, you are just very well reserved. You don't want to just give yourself out to someone and just anybody. You want to make sure you give it to someone that deserves it, and you want to have that support and appreciation with that person.
And would you guys all agree that most women think that they're a high value prize?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right? So we're going down this pathway, right? There's a competition, right? Men have to compete for this high value prize, right? Who do you think is going to win this high value prize? If it's a competition and it's highly debated and this prize is highly valued, right? No one else can get it. It's very highly prized, right? What type of man you think will going to win this prize? And we'll start here. What type of man do you think will win this prize if it's so high value?
A high value man.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay.
I'd also agree. A high value man that shows his worth. He's got everything.
It's got to be the best man, right? Okay, so would we all agree that it's got to be the best man in that competition? Okay.
Yeah.
So, if the woman is a prize in the relationship, right, and you have this best man that bested all this other man, we already said some of the stats, right? Had to make at least 200,000, puts him in the top 1%, 2%, 500,000. Shoot, right? Some of our sisters here said they needed 500,000. Funny stat, of course. I don't know if we reacted to a video on this a few weeks ago, right? But there was a study where they found out that to be an attractive Asian man, right? Because we want to relate to Asian culture. An Asian man, to get the same level of attraction as a Caucasian man, had to make more than 250,000 over that man to be attractive to the opposite gender, right? So 500,000 is close to the mark, what you guys are saying, okay? Right? So a man of this value that has all these capabilities and traits and was able to best everyone else, do you think he would be satisfied with just one prize? And I'll go down.
Oh my God, where are we starting to be? I don't think so.
What do you think?
Well, you already know my answer. That would be a no.
So he won't be satisfied with
He
one
would not
prize.
be satisfied?
It won't be.
No.
No?
No.
Yeah. So,
All agree. See?
so if he's not going to be satisfied with one prize, and do you guys agree that he should be only satisfied with one prize? Who here agrees that he should be only satisfied with one prize? Raise your hands if he should only be satisfied with one prize.
He should be, but he can have access to other prizes.
So you're saying that even though he was the best of the best, got this high value prize, beat other like 99.99% of people out there to get this prize, this man has this level of ambition, this level of skill, this level of drive. Like my brother Ty over here was saying earlier, like he doesn't stop. After he gets his goal, he has to keep getting better. You think this man will stop on one prize?
I will.
So Ty will. What about you, Joseph?
So yeah, I just had a question. Just going back a little bit earlier, we're talking about you threw out two terms: alpha fucks and beta bucks.
Yes,
correct?
go ahead.
And when we're talking about a high value man, what would you say encompasses that? Do you think there's only two alpha fucks, beta bucks? Do you think there's more?
There's levels to it, right? Because your
Okay.
values can be ranging, right? For example, I'll give you some very pragmatic examples. I don't want to, because we're going off on a tangent, but for example, height and physicality, right? Average height is 5'8". Less than 14% of men are 6 feet or taller. Less than 5% of men are 6'4" or taller, right? So there's a physical aspect to it. Handsomeness as well, right? Just physical traits, right? Finance. Right, we talked about money, right? Someone that's average money, you ain't gonna get submissiveness from your woman, right? But if you make 250,000 or more, you might earn that submissiveness from your woman, right? And then of course social status, social proof, right? You could be like Jeff Bezos and have all this money in the world. He's not the shortest dude, not the ugliest dude, but he has no game. He has no riz. He has no social status. He has no social proof. So what did he attract? Some leftover woman, right? Right? It is what it is. So those are the values, right?
So you would say that it would be valid for a high value person to be able to get one gift, and for that person to not be satisfied? Would you say that it would have to be more of an alpha fuck than to be a beta?
Well, that's what we're getting to. I'll tell you guys my personal opinion after what you guys state yours, right? But my point is, just a man with that capability, that freaking accomplishment, that competency, right? Do you think he's going to be happy and just stop on that one prize that he just won? Or do you think he'll keep competing and want more prizes?
Would you consider yourself one person like that as well? Just a high level person?
Like I said, I'll answer that at the end when everyone else. Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think he would be satisfied, or?
I think he could be satisfied. I think that person would vary in self-control.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lynn, how about yourself?
I feel like that one prize, like, if it was a woman, it's to make him feel human, because he has all of that capability and all of that wealth that he's like, what left to do than to keep growing? It's that woman to make him still feel human. I would say yes, he could be satisfied.
Okay.
Me personally, I'd be satisfied. For others, I think that
Speak your truth now, Kean. I mean, if your girl wasn't listening and she wasn't gonna freaking shame you or kill you, what would you want?
just keep going for the prize, I guess. Keep going for the money.
So you would want more prizes. Kristine, what do you think?
I think it's definitely possible. However, I feel like what Joseph said too, the self-control and the temptations would probably get to them if they're not, strong enough to, alleviate from it. But I do think that it is possible to have one prize.
Okay. So I'm gonna give you guys some truth here, right? Because this is what our channel's about, right? And I think this is where a lot of people fail. A lot of people. I don't think anybody really pushes this content that my wife and I pushes, right? The answer is no. A man of that capability would not be happy or not want to settle with one prize. Remember we talked about earlier how we have the person on this ear that always says that, have sex. Every man can attest to it. Every 30 minutes we're thinking about having sex or having, getting with a girl, right? A man who has that ambition and that capability has even more of that sex drive than another man. That's what makes him masculine, right? That's the masculine imperative, is to have that drive, right? So let me ask you guys this. If this man is not going to be happy with one prize, right? And he's obviously has the capability to go get multiple prizes. A man of that capability, he can go compete in other contests, and I'm sure he'll beat the other men to win those prizes. What will keep him satisfied? What will keep him, for lack of better words, loyal? Do you guys know? Anybody take us? Do you know? You know. You want to answer it, honey?
No, you can answer because you're all smiling about it.
Well, fine. But it's the truth, and that's what our channel here is trying to promote. So I want to, obviously promote ourselves a little bit. It's our kids. It's having the kids with that prize, and knowing that to give the best outcome for those kids, you don't leave your wife. You stay with your wife. You do your damnedest to work and provide for those kids. Because the problem is, it's on a very pragmatic level. We only have so much time, so much money. So I get it. Men like the higher end men that have all the money in the world, they can have multiple wives. And this is the problem that we've lost in today's society, is we've lost the concept of the truth. If you're capable of doing that with multiple wives, you can have it. But let's be honest, the majority of us can't. And even then, we don't have the time. Right? I'll tell you guys from my own personal experience. I have 3 kids. I barely have enough time to work and spend time with my 3 kids. Teach them baseball, go to my daughter's taekwondo, right? Like, I only have so much time in the day to interact with them, raise them. And I work 12 hours a day. So it's like, right? So if I want the best outcome for my kids and give them the best chance for success, the truth, that's what keeps me loyal. Because if I go fuck with another girl, then I have to maybe raise that kid. I got to spend my resources to that woman, right? Spend my time with her and her kids, or my kids, but with her instead of my wife and our kids, right? So it's like we don't have that capability to do it. But yes, a man who's in the top 0.0001%. Have all you guys here heard of Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
Right? A man of his qualifications, capability, that's why he can live that lifestyle. He can achieve the truth with more than one woman, is because he can do that. Okay? So, now that you guys know that, do you guys still think that the woman is the prize? Who here thinks that the woman is still the prize? Raise your hand.
I mean, if you have kids now, I mean, your kids are the prize, right?
He hit it on the nail on the head.
Because I want to, appreciate you saying that answer, because I haven't heard that answer in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the only answer I hear from like my community of men, right? So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, the kids are the prize. The man and the woman are not the prize. The man and the woman have to become a certain value, or in a woman's case, retain her value to be the prize, right? To be the high value prize that she says she is. The man has to achieve a certain level of fame, fitness, finance to become that high value man, to be qualified to achieve the prize.
That conversation, because that is why. If you don't meet that right woman to support you, to have a legacy created, then you're not going to get that truth, which is the main thing. And that's why I want to get we are trying to get that ball rolling. Because day and age, most women now says, yes, they are the prize. What do you bring to the table? They are the table. Well, you're not the buffet girl, because if you're not having that child, you're not upkeeping yourself. I'm letting you men and women know out there, it's nothing. And that's why everybody knows Paul Allen. Yeah, he is the guy, but he didn't leave any legacies. He didn't leave any lineage. So,
The problem now is we've been lied to by all these different matrices, right? And I don't want to go on to it too much. You guys can ask me about that later. But we've all been lied to think that we're important, right? The man, the husband, the wife is the one that's important. No, it's our lineage. It's the one that we're passing on. They're the prize. We need to focus. And that's why back in the day, your parents didn't really know the truth. But they did it through duty, right? They did it through commitment. They did it through hard work, because there was traditional values that held those core beliefs together, even though they didn't really know the reason why. But they put their children before themselves for that reason, right? Would you guys say nowadays that people think that way? Right? So that's the current dating market. Right? And so you have a bunch of men that understand, well, they don't understand, because obviously, we live in such a crazy sexual market that women only want the top percentage of men. And so men are like, screw it, I have to become this top 1%. And if I become this top 1%, the women still ain't loyal to me, right? And then we have women that, want to be independent, want to be boss babes, right? Don't value. Look, I would say women are in their emotions more. Right? And so they value their happiness more than anything else over the duty, right? Over the duty of their children, right? So therein lies the problem. Okay?
Yeah, because if the woman's duty is being neglected, right? There's nothing wrong with being a boss babe, but when you're married, right? You have your duty to be a mom. You have your role as a man to be a duty as a father figure. And when when the child is lacking this and this, well, what are you creating? Well, it's going to be imbalance, right? So there's going to be trouble. So this is why with our channel, it's like, we're not trying to fight men. We're not trying to have women fight each other, and you're not trying to single you guys out. We want you guys to unite, because at the end of the day you can have all that money, you can have all that fame, you can have all that, but when you don't have,
using it for?
But what are you,
You're not. Yeah. This is where all you get. You guys hear all these cliche statements, right? Like, you can't take the money with you, right? Things like that, or you can't buy happiness, right? Because all those material things you can't take with you. But what do you leave on this planet? It's your kids, right? So now that you guys know this, though, or at least maybe now that I opened your eyes to this possibility, would you go have multiple wives?
No.
Okay.
You really threw me into the loop earlier, but no.
No, you want to have multiple wives? Even if you were capable. If you had all the finances, fitness, you were that man of that level, you still want, you was on. No, okay. Would you allow your man, if he was a man of this capability and this high value, would you still want him to be loyal only to you?
Yes.
Okay. How about yourself, Kean? No cap, man. Come on. Come on. Be honest.
I'm being honest.
If you had all that capability, you would still not.
I still wouldn't.
Still wouldn't. Okay. Kristine?
He better not.
So
No.
no. So no.
No.
There you go.
So no, you wouldn't either.
So that is why we want
So-
to do this to discuss.
So you wouldn't either. Okay. So no one here would obviously have multiple wives if you're a guy, even if you were this top tier guy, right? And no woman would want to obviously only be loyal to her, right? So my question, this is just sex. We're talking about sex here, right? Right? If we're just talking about sex only, because this is another hotly debated topic in this sphere. That's why I'm bringing it up, right? Because people want to hear the answers to these questions, right? If it's just sex, is it really cheating for a man? And we'll start here, honey. If it's just sex, I'm not protecting or providing for her.
Yeah, you better not.
I'm not committing to her, right, in that respect. If it's just sex, is the man cheating on her?
Well, cheating in a different way.
Well,
Oh. You better not be cheating with my finance, because that's important to me. But I want to leave that with.
so if I went to go sleep with a girl, but I didn't pay any money or didn't commit to her protection, I didn't like go take.
You
a
better not
photo.
be. Yeah, you better not be laying no other. Making another little
and
mini
I don't have
tawns.
kids with her, so you're gonna let me do it.
Hey, if my money is in my hands and whatever else, and you reach a certain age, like he's about to croak, then I would say, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so what is this age? What is this age? Because I need to know. I'm listening.
I'm just
very
saying.
intently.
Okay, there's different cheating. Okay, for a woman, if you are still, your body can produce, right? That to me is a different kind of cheating, because she's cheating with her virginity. She's cheating with her body, so she can be producing another child. But for a man, if he's cheating and he's sleeping, but he's not using his finance, he's not, differently. And for you, well, I'm letting my viewers know, but with Tuan, hey, if you're about to croak, then I say go ahead. But if for now, if you better not,
Yeah, so I gotta be like 80 and like 80.
Yeah, about
60.
80-ish, you're about to croak, go ahead.
I don't think I'm gonna live that long. So in essence, this is a topic that's always talked about in this sphere: is do men and women cheat the same? Okay, so what do you think, Kristine?
No.
So would you let your man have sex with another woman if he wasn't protecting or providing for
He's
her?
about to die.
So he has to be dying before. So what if your man became, he made this $200,000. You're fully taken care of, right? You're literally having to just, do your wifely duties. You're being submissive to him, right? 100%. He can't step out from time to time, but like, hey, babe, I'm just gonna go.
No.
Step out for a beer.
Yeah, you can step out for a beer. Go hang out with your friends.
If
but
you didn't know what he was just doing, he says, "Hey, I'm just going out for a business trip," and on his business trip he did this. Would you? And you
if I didn't know,
if you didn't know,
I don't know. I don't know how I would react. But if I did know, then I would be really pissed off.
so even though you knew, your man might have this capability because he's reached this level of value, as long as you don't know, he's.
Can I be
Cool.
truthful, honey? Okay.
I mean,
You know how they say D is cheap, but for a woman to give it up is expensive? Because you know why? No woman out there, I'm trying to tell you guys right now, Asian man, woman, whatever, no woman out there is going to give it to you for free. Okay?
We'll get to that.
That's still going to hit your damn finance.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. So no for you, and even if he's became this high value man,
if I knew he was capable of doing all of those things, no, still no.
Still no. Okay. How about now? Would you change your answer? You still wouldn't go sleep with another woman?
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't.
How about yourself? If it's just sex,
If I do.
just sex, he's not protecting or providing.
I'd say no, because there's that temptation of leaving your duty.
But he's not. He's just going out.
Still doing everything.
He's just doing everything else. He hasn't. No bill has been dropped. You go buy a Lambo, car payment's done. Bam, right? House is done. This guy's making $500,000 a year. He can afford a house and a Lambo. No problem, right?
Okay. But that potential like outcome of having another kid with someone else is still out there. It just disregards my body and giving it to you to go do it with someone else. I'd say no.
Okay, so as long as he doesn't have a child from someone else or brings an STD back,
Sure, yeah.
then you're fine with it.
No.
Would you?
I wouldn't.
So you still wouldn't be
Still
fine.
would not be okay
And-
with it, no.
But as long as you don't know, you'd be fine with it.
I'd know at some point.
Okay. Are you gonna go like search his phone, like find the password to his phone, and then freaking try to see if he's getting DMing some chick?
Well,
or-
there's this thing where actions speak louder than words. You'll just know. You'll just notice.
How would you know? I mean, like I said, he just works all the time. He's taking care of the kids. He goes to their games. He goes to, takes care of you, right? He goes to their freaking, whatever event that you guys have, family functions. Everything seems normal.
It would just be a matter of respect at that point. Even if I didn't know, you're just disrespecting me and the family I provided.
Okay, so that's 4. Everyone thinks that men and women cheat the same then, for the most part. Because if you don't allow him to have sex, because you think his sexual value, his sex is the same value as your sex, then you think so you said it's different, right? So you think men and women cheat the same then? Because if a man has sex with another woman or a woman has sex with another man, they're both deal breakers,
Yeah, they're both deal breakers.
right? So they're the same, right? So what about yourself, Joseph?
No, I wouldn't want that other person, or for myself personally.
You wouldn't do it,
I wouldn't
and
do
you
it.
think cheating is the same.
I would say so, yeah.
So sex with a woman. How about yourself, Ty?
I think cheating is the same. Yeah.
So the act of sex is still the same.
Yeah.
Okay. And you guys are just saying it's because of just the act, the sex? Or what is the reason? Why would you guys say
because
the reason?
for a guy to have, another partner, I mean, it takes a lot of work, right? You got to go through the hoops. You got to actually approach and...
But you're already there. You've already done the work. You've already done the work.
Well, that's where accountability comes in, right? Let's say for me, for example, I'm surrounded by guys that are going to keep me accountable, right? We all have the same values.
Is this a moral value that you're referring to?
I would say a moral value.
Moral
yeah,
value.
a moral thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not a really pragmatic value. It's
Right.
more of just not doing. And why do you think it's the wrong thing? Who told you or who taught you or why do
I
you
see
think?
my parents, and seeing other...
Yeah, but is your parents really of that caliber of people that could pull off this thing?
I wouldn't say so, but even surrounded myself with other high value men, I they're successful in their marriages, from what I see, right? But if they're leading the pack with integrity, I want to emulate that as well.
You don't think these men are having any type of sexual relationships at all just sexual relationships with any other women?
There's a lot of men that have access, right? But if you want to be, in my opinion, a man of excellence, you wouldn't be doing that.
Okay, and that's from a moral standpoint.
Right.
So everyone agrees that there's a moral aspect to this.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's go from not just a sexual aspect. Let's talk about it from the truth aspect. If a man is capable to protect, provide, support, right, have the time because he's a man of means, right? Because time buys money, right? We all say that, right? Time is money, right? If he's capable of doing this and he has multiple wives and multiple kids from these wives, right? And he can take care of all of them because he has the means to do so. Would that be okay then? We'll start here.
I mean, in my opinion, he has to provide for the family regardless.
Yeah,
right?
everything's the same, right? One wife has a $2 million house. Other wife has a $2 million house. Third wife has a $2 million house. Everyone's got their kids, cars. Everything's taken care of.
He can, yeah, if he can. In a moral standpoint, he would have to take care of his kids and other wives, right?
Yeah. But what happened to the moral standpoint of just being with one woman? You want to come back to you then?
Yeah, just come back to me. Yeah.
How about yourself, Joseph?
So I think personally it's still we go back to that morality thing. Just because you can do something that doesn't mean you should. And I think that's my personal view.
Do you think most men, if given the opportunity, given the choice, hey, I'm going to hand you the keys to this situation, do you think most men would turn down that situation or freaking accept that situation?
I think a lot of men would accept it, but I think there's also a surprising amount that would have self-control and say no. But
Okay.
I don't
So
know.
would you agree with me then that most men want to have it though? Like this is like their imperative, like their biological imperative to want that.
I mean, I can ask. We have 3 men here. Would you want that?
I was gonna ask that.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, if given the choice, right? If you guys have I give you guys, $100 million each tomorrow. $100 million. That's no problem. You should be able to go get 2 or 3 wives, buy each of them $1 million house, $2 million house. Take care of them. Would you guys want that?
I wouldn't do it. No.
You wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. You wouldn't still do it.
I would still not do it.
Okay. All right. Lynn, I'll ask you. Obviously, you walked away, but right. So, would a man if a man is capable of supporting multiple wives, right? So we're not talking about sex here, right? So we're talking about the truth. He has enough means and time to take care of his kids, pay for all his wives. Let's say 3 wives, multiple kids, take care of each of them equally. Spend time with each of them equally. Should he be able to do that?
No.
So still no.
No.
So he should still be with one woman.
Yes.
Okay.
Sticking to one woman.
Woman.
No.
He shouldn't stick with one woman?
Oh no, he should.
Oh,
No,
so
he
there
should.
should be one woman.
Yes,
Okay, so
one woman.
So everyone agrees on that. What about you?
Well, depending. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, because, well, if you're saying his finances all the same, is everything else, he's taking care of everything. Hey, we can juggle it all. If you can juggle it all, then go for it.
We got one person that says he can do it. Okay.
You want more headache? That's your problem. As why is more people, more headache you get.
Is that hint?
Would it be a headache though if a man who's on his purpose, because this is his purpose, right? If a man who's high value and he knows that that's the truth, like that's all he's living for is to have wife, have kids, and give the best option for his kids. That's his whole purpose in life. He's gonna do that until the day he dies, right? There's no other higher meaning for him, right? Why would he be stressed out? If he has a purpose and he knows that he's winning the game, my purpose is to have kids, have multiple kids from multiple wives, so now have sex from more than just one woman, right? That's my biological. Who here, guys, wants sex with more than one woman, if given the opportunity, with no negative consequences?
Oh yeah.
Raise your hand. Be
Right?
honest.
Okay, so you're saying no. I think you guys are being dishonest, but still. Okay.
You got a lot
How
of
about
bottles.
the majority of men? Do you think the majority of men, if given this opportunity?
I'm not a man, and I think
Yeah.
Yes, right? So we would all agree that majority of men, right? You guys might be the exception to the rule. I'm not going to discount that, you guys, okay? So maybe you guys are the exception. But let's say more than 90% of men, 80% of men, if given the choice, right, would accept this option, right? Right? So if a man wants these things and he's capable of doing these things, why cannot he have it?
Why cannot what women?
Why can't he have this?
Oh, why can't you have this?
Yeah. No, the guy on your shoulder is saying yes all the dang time.
I feel like we all have temptations. Like we're capable of doing a lot of things. Let's say, just bad things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we have all our negative thoughts. Like, oh, we could do these things, but we just don't.
But
Right.
why is it bad? Why is it vilified?
I think it's just a perception that what it comes down to. It's like, because we're so used to like the stick to one, like, thing.
But who taught us that?
Our parents, or in
Who
general.
taught our parents?
I think it's just the whole the domino effect in your family and how you were raised. It's just like, it goes towards it. Because I mean, if the time comes, I would teach my daughter the same thing. Stick to one. It's just
So it's just something
society.
that you've been told, a social construct that's just been passed down generation to generation. You guys don't know where it came from, how it came about, but you guys just know that it's the right thing and there's a wrong thing to do. Okay. Would you guys all agree that women are looking for the best man,
Oh yes.
right? And women want the best man and prefer the best man, height, physicality, money, fame, all those resources. And would you guys agree that if a woman found that man, she would stick with that one man and be loyal to that one man?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we would all
Yeah,
agree
I
that,
think
right?
so.
Okay. So why is it that the woman's biological imperative and need, right? Because that's what she wants. Why is it glorified and promoted, but the man's biological imperative, being the best man, becoming a high value man, then having all the options possible, why is it shamed and put in a negative light? We'll start here.
Start with the mom. Start with me.
Yeah, why do you think? Why is the men's wants always vilified?
Because they
always
think of it.
demonized?
Because they think of it as being sexual. The sexual part is just like sleeping around. And sleeping around, not taking responsibilities. That's why.
But you have to have sex to get the truth. You have to have sex to get the kids. And we already agreed that the men's most thing that they want is sexual access and loyalty from a woman. So if they can have that from multiple women, and I think we would all agree that men, if given the choice, want it from multiple women, why is it vilified? Why is it put in a negative light? The women's wants aren't. You don't know?
Society.
So you think society?
I honestly think it's just the perception that society brings towards that light.
So society. Society. Okay.
Same.
Society. Go ahead.
I think it's because guys don't voice it enough, and we don't want to say this truth, right? Whereas women, we band together. Oh, yeah, we want this type of man, 6 foot, 6 inches, 6 figures. But when guys get together, we don't. Now these days, we're afraid to share what we want, right? Like for example, I mean, I posted myself on Subtle Asian Dating. I don't know if you guys know that site. And I make comments like, I want a 21-year-old to 28, reasonable, right? I want a girl who's good looking without the bad attitude. And some of the comments, I mean, you go through the comments, you get half of it, probably maybe 3/4 of it is just like, wow, he's so shallow. Wow, he's like this.
You're a predator.
You're a predator. It's like,
insecure.
why are you looking for a
You're
younger girl?
manipulative, right? So
Exactly.
like I said, it's always negative and shamed.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is why it is, guys, right? Because we need to control men for the society to run. Okay? So yes, you guys are right in the essence that society is the one to see, but it's these social constructs. In our sphere, I'm sure you guys have heard this term, it's called the matrix,
Yeah.
right? So we have all these matrices that forces men to believe a certain ideology, right? Because if we told men to be men, right, then we would go crazy, right? We would live like the way we did in the past, where we say, okay, hey, I want that girl over there. She's got a man. Okay, I'm going to kill him, take her from that man, right? It's just like that's the reason why we conquered. That's the reason why we took over civilizations back in the day, right? Like, hey, I want your resources. I want your women. Village of men, go kill that village of men, right? And so the construct of marriage now is what I'm talking about, right? It came with a religious context. Did you guys know that originally religion bound the woman to the man?
Yes.
All right, so some of you guys knew that.
Yes, my mother.
So
told
you knew
me.
that, and who else knew that? So you knew that, okay? And why was that? Why do you guys think? Why was originally marriage concept, the religious concept, was that the woman was the property of the man.
So the term matrimony is, I think it's Latin descent, is to make a mother. That's what it means.
Yeah, and why?
To have families or children?
Yes,
Like,
but from a
okay.
primary. I mean, she could go have sex and have a kid. Why wouldn't you get married?
I guess. Oh, I don't know. I would say no.
What do you think?
My mom just told me like it's like bounded by God, I guess, like to get married to have to go through that.
So we're gonna break down a lot of, unfortunately, social constructs tonight, and maybe I wanted to touch on this topic because so many people are religious out there. I know a lot of our Asian community are religious and very tradcons. We're very traditional conservatives in this light. Like you're talking about how your society and your mom and dad taught you these things, right? And it's because we couldn't ensure paternity back in the day, right? We don't have like checking the gender and whose kids it was. We didn't have gene, freaking testing back in the day. So the only way that men could ensure that their kid was that, hey, I married you, you're my property, you're only supposed to have sexual access to me. I'm the only one that's supposed to can have sex with you. Okay? What happened was in the recent years, it started becoming obviously more woke, more progressive, right? They said, oh, okay, now the man and the woman are together. They're bound together as one. There's this moral code that if you stray from each other, you're going to go to hell. It's an evil thing. It's a thing. So why did you guys think that had to change? Because before it used to be, hey, you're the man. This concept of marriage we give to you, right? The church bestows upon you this title of marriage so that the woman belongs to you. You're her, she's your property. Why did we change it in recent years to make it so that way it's a union? We'll start over here. What do you think?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, because that's the concept we all believe now, right? There's this union. We're all 50-50, right?
Yeah.
Right. It goes back to how this whole conversation started, right? What do you think, Joseph?
I think it could just because of that access to data and technology and being able to think differently, right? We have this access to social media's access to different platforms, access to all this data.
So you think it's a very recent thing? Because 2010 is when kind of social media, Instagram blew up. So it's a very recent thing. You don't think it happened before then? Because remember, these things kind of changed. Like even my day and age, we got married in 2002, but even before then, growing up as Gen Xers, we heard this concept. Man and a woman, you go to church and they say, the candle flame comes together, and you light one candle, right?
Unite.
Why did that concept have to come around?
Oh, to come around?
Yeah, why did it have to change from the woman belonging to the man to ensure paternity to now that it's a union of two people who are equal in the eyes of God, 50-50, right? And that the man can't cheat and the woman can't cheat and you can't have multiple wives, right? Because back in the day, religious men had multiple wives. You guys know that, right? King Solomon, all the kings back in the day, even though they followed Christian law, Catholic law, they had multiple wives and concubines. So why?
I'm going to pass on.
Okay. What about yourself, Lynn? Why do you think that concept changed?
I think it just got too saturated with all the different kinds of cultures and religions that we now interact with. There's too many options now. That ability to just look on social media, the dating apps, it's like, oh, this person isn't in my vicinity of ethnicity, culture, and religion. It becomes just an option now, and it became so saturated. No one really knows the original.
I agree the saturation, but I don't think the social media aspect comes into play because, like I was telling Joseph, this concept's been around before social media and the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, So, and then I don't think the religious aspect really comes into play, like different religions, because the Western society, for the most part, has always been kind of following a Christian, Judeo-Christian type of mindset, right? Catholicism, Christianity type of mindset, right? So it's only been a recent time where we've kind of shamed and shunned Christianity, right? What about yourself?
Kind of stuck on that.
So, okay.
Pass on.
What do you
To
think?
be honest, me too. But like, I mean, I'll take a whack at it. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like how you mentioned earlier, how we need to tame men. to function and to, you know, to work in society. And maybe that's what it is, to condense that so that we're not, you know, there's no disorganization.
She hit on the nail on the head, right? The matrix is not set up for the top tier men and the women that go with him. The social constructs and the matrix is set up for everyone else. You guys have heard the Pareto principle, right? The Pareto principle is that in life there's 80% of just average, below average people. And then only the top 20% is the top 20%. The movers, the shakers, the well-to-do, the most beautiful women, the most handsome guys, the most financially well, the smartest, the brightest of us, the ones that actually are the best of us. Do you guys know that only about 30 to roughly 40%, but I would say closer to 35% of men have procreated in all human history? Whereas over 95% of women have procreated. So that just tells you the very small pool of men are having sex with all the women and having kids with all the women. Because we talked about this already, right? A man has to become a certain level before he can get access to women. And women only choose the top tier man. All right? So now you guys know this. And now you guys know that these social constructs, religion, the matrix, government, right? Our freaking marriage rights, our marriage laws, our divorce laws, they're all to control men. So that way we don't follow our biological imperative. We don't want to do what we want to do. We're shamed to want what we want. Do you guys change your mind now? Start over here. Do you change your mind now?
No, because I'm pretty stuck on my morals and what I want and my standards. So I wouldn't change anything that I have in terms of my mindset, you know. So I'm pretty stuck on what I'm looking for and what. But I understand the concept, like, right? You got the red pill. You got all this content out there. Is like you can learn the truth, but how do you interpret that? Well, how do you take that truth and, you know, incorporate that into your life, right? You can either take that truth and become a dangerous man or become a man of excellence, right? So I take all the information, understanding everything, but I'm going to still stick with my morals.
Okay.
No, I really have to agree because I feel like morals is really what set me up and shaped me throughout. And so very much to what Tony said is, you know, I think I would just stick to that code, right? And I really like what you say about man of excellence, right? And to keep that integrity, even knowing, maybe even agreeing in some parts of the social
So if a
aspects.
man who restrains or suppresses the truth and his biological wants, right? Those are his wants. What would you title him? If the man who's restrained is excellent, what is the man who's letting his truth follow his truth? What would you call him then?
Well, I think it would be the antonym. It would be unrestrained, right?
So he wouldn't be excellent then, because if the man is excellence, that is restraining himself, then the other man would not. He would be subpar then.
You could go ahead. Yeah.
I would say I just wouldn't respect him, right? If I see my brothers,
So it's negative.
Yeah,
It's
I would
negative.
say it,
because
you know?
respect you would have to admire, or at least right, it would be a positive thing.
And
to
it's a
respect.
social contract that we said, right? Like if a man is able to do that, but if I see one of my brothers do that, I personally would keep him accountable. I'm like, you know, you have these morals, you're capable of doing these, but if you're doing all these actions against, like, you're contradicting yourself, I wouldn't respect him, right? If I see even my brother or my good friends, you know, they're all capable, they're great leaders, they're going to be the top 1% eventually.
So this man, hypothetical man, he's got 2 kids, 2 wives, has the kids, taking care of them, all thing, spends times with them, everyone's happy, everyone's taken care of, all kids are going to be valedictorians, star athletes. You would still not respect this man.
It would have to come from how I met the man as well.
Well, I mean,
right?
his accomplishment speaks for himself. A man's value is very realistic, right? Very pragmatic. It's in your face. A man can't lie to himself, right? We can't sit here and be like, I'm a king and you know you're a bum living at your mom's house, right?
Yeah, it would be hard to say because I haven't met that person, right? I'm not exposed to it. But if I'm exposed to, men that are, I can't say.
But you've seen some of these men in society, right? I mean, even though you mightn't say that, but this is what I'm trying to say. Like, we shame these men.
Yeah.
Right? You've seen some of these men in society, and we can argue, we can debate about it, but let's just talk about just reality, right? We talk about Andrew Tate, right? Hugh Hefner. Why is he respected by so many men? Because he has this, what I'm talking about in real life, right? Dan Bilzerian, right?
I think with Andrew Tate, I respect him as well. I think he's doing good for the men's community.
Mm-hmm.
If you're honest and truthful about what your intentions are, okay, I will respect you in what you do, right? But if you're doing this behind other people's back, you're not being accountable, you're doing this, with ill intent.
But we just heard from all the women that if we told them the truth, they wouldn't let us do it.
And with a man of, who has high value, he's going to be okay if she leaves. Is that right?
Okay.
So then he can have
So he would just find a woman.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But in my opinion, if, leaders like, let's say, Andrew Tate, I would respect him for what he does because he's intentional in what he says and he's honest with what he does. Like, he's actually has multiple people, right? Multiple women.
Yeah.
Right? Which is okay if you can voice that out. But if I find out from like a close friend who's doing that behind my back.
So are you changing your answer then?
I would just say reframing what my answer is, right?
Okay.
Because I have to clarify on everything, respect and emphasizing everything like that.
Okay. This will be the last question, and then what do you think? Would you, now that you know these things, these social constructs that I'm telling you about, the men's wants and the bylaw, do you change your answer, or you still no? A man should be restrainful. He shouldn't want these things.
A man can want whatever he wants, but it's also like loyalty and respect for the woman. She's not just a prize; she's a commitment. She's you committed to that, so why would you not commit to that?
Okay, fair enough.
My answer is still the same. It goes back to morals. Like,
Your girl's not watching. No, I'm just joking.
yeah, no, I wouldn't. It's just morals. Like,
Even though I told you this moral was just a social contract, I literally just broke it down for you guys where we got this fake ideology from.
like me inside myself, I wouldn't bring myself to do it because it's just out the window.
Okay, fair enough. Kristine?
I think my answer would honestly be the same, just
Okay.
because like all of them said, like just the morality of it.
So this morality construct, this matrix, you guys are still wanting to live in the matrix then. You guys still want to live in this social construct. So we're not as progressive and as open, like our eyes haven't been open to the truth as much as you guys want to be.
I think it's okay to understand the truth, right?
Mhm.
We have to accept that it's there and it's visible,
Okay.
right?
And
But
to
if you-
piggyback off of that, I agree too, because like not like I said, like if we are stuck in the matrix or people think this way, I feel like there's people now that are progressive in thinking that probably would be okay with it. I think generally, since it's just starting to come to light and like this is being a little more progressive in the outside looking in, I think for me, just because of how my upbringing, all of that is, that my answer still stays the same.
No, I get that, but no, the reality is that no, people aren't progressive in that sense. Women still want the top tier men. It's actually worse now. It's the way that our society is now, that women swipe on men only 5% of the time, right? And like my brother Ty was saying earlier, right? They all want the sixes, right? 6 foot tall, 6-pack, 6 figures, 6 inches, like they only want the top tier man. That's why the average man and below average man is struggling. And that's the reason why Ty is successful in his, business of trying to help men. This is why channels or this content like this is blowing up, is because men are feeling lost, right? And that's the whole reason I want to end it with this, and I'll let you guys have a question as well too. We'll end the show with your guys' own questions, but this is the reason why I kind of wanted to debunk this whole traditional conservative talking point, because that's the reason why the churches are failing. You know, you're a churchgoer. I used to be a churchgoer, right? But I don't believe in the church anymore because they're teaching men this false mentality and this false ideology to not be men. And so why women are asking where are all the good men gone is because we're believing in this bullshit ideology. We need to be men. We need to be the top tier men. And that's what women want. And the more top tier men and more high value men out there, there will be more candidates for these women. Right? But I do believe in a moral code too. Yeah, you shouldn't go out there and rape, pillage, do negative things to your wife and kids, right? The truth should still be your main primary goal. Okay? All right. So we'll end on this. Any last thoughts? You guys like the show, hate the show, open your mind, you guys learn new things. And then, of course, if you guys have any questions or comments, and we'll start over here.
I don't really have anything to say, but it was great, like listening to other points of views in different age brackets, because you get to pick the mind, and that's not just like one group of people. It's good to see young minds and how they're developing and how they're thinking in today's society as well. So it was very refreshing for me to get to hear all of your guys' opinions and answers.
Yeah.
No, I definitely liked it. Like hearing everyone's opinions and like what their certain thoughts are on certain things. I learned a couple of things today. It was.
Well, would you say though some of us did state some actual facts though, some actual statistical truths, not just opinions?
No, there was like a lot of facts like given. I understood those. I learned those like certain truths about men, women alike. It was really insightful about it.
Cool.
It's definitely an experience. I really liked experiencing the new point of views that I didn't have around me or never really talked about. So it definitely opened up a little bit of a second idea for me.
Are you going to make any changes in the way you approach?
I've already been making changes in my life, so it's just going to add on to it. It's okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it was a very insightful conversation, and there'd be times where I would try to see where this conversation would lead to, than topics and such like that. But being able to hear the perspectives of, let's say, the dichotomy of certain things and learning more about the statistical facts is also very interesting. And it's always a great thing to learn about another perspective from another person. And so I think it was a wonderful time. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
Oh, I enjoyed it. I enjoy y'all's company. I think, especially for the Asian American community, like we need more of this, and that's what we're both doing. We're all doing.
Yeah.
And so it's super refreshing to see, all ages, but all Asian come together and talk about topics like this, because we're very outspoken, especially for Asian men, right? No one talks about this.
Yeah.
And these are personal conversations I have with men on the phone every single day, and we just don't hear about it, right? There's only a few that I see that are making content like this. So I appreciate it. And I like the views that, everything that's been stuck in my head is like the kids, the legacy.
Yeah.
That they're the prize. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
So it's a good thing that, and that's why we're doing this, because a lot of people don't realize that you might have your fortune, you have your fame, you have everything else. You're like shown all these things, and I got these luxury goods. But what does that go? What does it do? Who are you passing it to? Why do you think most royals or anybody who is up there always require that you have to have a legacy? Because without their legacy, there is no more bloodline. You're done. Yeah. You are done. You're not leaving anything else. And just like everything is, you can't take anything with you. But your lineage can continue hundreds and thousands of years. But all the other stuff, no.
Yeah, so, our main goal, like I said, is always to spread the truth for you guys, bring in all my Asian brothers and sisters, but all our viewers out there too, the truth, so that way it help you guys have a purpose, right? Because I'm going to go back to this, our stat for our Asian community specifically. I think one of the primary reasons that men self-delete, and specifically now Asian men are one of the highest self-deletion rates, is because we don't have a purpose. Right, we're not getting sexual access. We're not getting access to the truth, right? So if women aren't being attracted to us, we're not going to have a purpose. This is the reason why so many men, when they get old and retire and they have no more purpose, or let's say they get divorced, right, and they lose access to their kids, this is the reason why so many men self-delete, right? And so I want to bring this awareness to everyone out there, but of course, specifically my Asian brothers, because this is happening way too high that we need to change it around. We need to increase our value. Hey, go check out Ty's channel. Go check out his content. Hopefully, contact him too. Get some help, right? And support all of our Asian brothers and sisters on this panel as well too, guys. Guys, we'll be having another live here in the future, so guys, please come and check that out. But I want to thank you, all the guests on the show. Thank you for being so open and obviously sharing all your experiences and stories. Okay, you guys have a wonderful night, and we'll